pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will do roll call. Councillor Myers.
Here.
Councillor Rich.
Here.
Councillor Cuthbertson.
Here.
Councillor Williams.
Here.
Councillor Lindner.
Here.
And Councillor Winther.
Here.
Great, thank you. All right. We finished with roll call. We are actually going to go ahead and go into an executive session. An executive session is pursuant to ORS 192.660 section, I think it's section 2, subsection F, will be held to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection, specifically regarding the Monroe Community Library. The executive session is closed to the public. Any decisions or statements of council after executive session will be held in open public session. We do have a member of the media in the audience, correct?
Correct.
So that individual may remain. They will not be reporting, but they can stay and listen.
Yes.
Okay, so we will go ahead and I will ask the public to kindly.
We'll do the public hearing after that.
For those of you
We'll call you back
online,
when we're
I will
done.
be placing you in a meeting room holding area until the executive session has ended.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And I didn't see
I did not see our.
Lori on there yet. You gotta call her real quick.
Thank you for helping me with my tire.
If I have to.
Appreciate it.
Okay, there is a confidential
Mhm.
memo in your packet.
Yeah, it's,
After the executive
Yeah.
session, we will have to give those to Steve.
Oh, gotcha.
Just out of curiosity, why is it confidential? What about this?
It's privileged attorney information.
Okay,
So in other words, if you are, in order to enact this particular part of the Oregon State clause that we're examining it,
Mhm.
the information must be kept confidential between client attorney. It's the same as a client attorney privilege anywhere else.
sure, that makes sense.
So if you've heard about client attorney privilege,
Yeah, I've just had a little bit extra free time on my hands, so I thought, what the heck? Let me look up 192.660.2F.
yeah. And so
What
this,
qualifies as something that is not under examination from the public.
that is correct. So
There's
this is what this is. So in any executive session, you are, the state looks at these things very closely.
Mhm.
So, for instance, if you decide to take 3 hours to do an executive session, and come out, and say, "Yep, we're all done."
Yeah.
That would not be good, right? You're supposed to be here to look at this information, come up with a decision as to what it is. Stop, go into open public session, state your deliberations and your decision, and then move on. But in this case, we're basically protecting our attorney's right to have confidential conversation with you.
Okay.
And let's see if I can get our confidential attorney.
good question, though.
It always pays to know instead of
Yes,
guess.
absolutely.
We don't have these kind of things very often, but when we do,
Yeah, there's another ORS section, if anyone's curious, that governs all them, and it's quite exhaustive.
it
Some
is.
things are easy to say we're not doing. We're not examining a dead body or part of a dead body, for example.
Well, I go.
But
certainly
that's a
hope
good reason for an
not.
executive session according to the state.
Okay.
But there are
Wow.
lots of,
Oh,
yeah,
my.
it's labyrinthine. I just,
Yeah.
I had trouble understanding at that point. And I
Yeah.
wanted to,
Yeah, oh, of course.
yeah, well, I knew that we weren't gonna look at a dead body, or at least I suspected quite strongly. We'll see how this evening goes. okay?
We're waiting for you. Go on to our website, ci.monroe.or.us. You'll see our city council meeting up in the corner on the calendar. Click on that and you'll see the Zoom link right there. It does. Yeah, what I do is I put everyone else into the waiting room. All right, thank you, Lori. Bye-bye. Fortunately, I actually have her cell phone. That's instead of the office number, which of course would not be
Very
helpful.
helpful, yes.
So I'll have to monitor this during the conversation to make sure that no one else pops in.
Can't you set it where it has to, they go into a waiting room and you have to?
Yes, I do, but these were set ahead of time
Oh,
and
okay.
I
Can't retroactively do it.
I can't retroactively. I need to just remove them all and restate it and put them in. I have been doing that for a lot of the newer meetings.
Yeah.
I put everyone to a waiting room and you cannot join until I let you in.
Yeah. Where most of them at work go.
May I ask a question about all this stuff with the SBCA and the county? How much weight does that really have on the decision that we make tonight about the IGA and the contract? Just, I mean, it seems like we're getting, and I know that we need to get in the weeds because this is a legal situation. But the purpose of that library that was gifted is to be a library. And so I'm just wondering, like, is the SBCA part even all that relevant?
Hang on a sec. Hi, Lori. Yes.
Oh, is she in the waiting room?
Where she's having problems. Like,
Oh, that's possible too.
Okay, you should be able to use the but I can also let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, put the 820-7259-5766 in. Yep, there you are. All right, I see you. All right, bye-bye.
Okay.
There we go. Hello,
How's that?
Lori. Welcome to Monroe.
Hello.
Hi, Lori.
hello.
Should I
All
raise
right.
my question?
Yeah, I think we have a
You
question.
have a question in the room, Lori.
Okay.
Hi, Lori. My name is Lisa Lindner. I'm one of the counselors, and I know that there's a lot of like nitty gritty in the weeds detail here that we do need to review, and because of all the legal implications potentially, but how important or relevant is it that the SBCA is actually involved in this? It almost seems like I just don't know that it's really that big of a factor in how
Yeah.
that building gets used. Can you just clarify or confirm, correct my
Yeah,
thinking?
I mean, I think the only reason they'd really need to be involved is to sort of change the property use easement language, because right now, the way it's stated, it's between the SCBEA and the county. And I think when the SCBEA quit claimed the property to the city of Monroe and said it was subject to that use easement, I think they thought, or their lawyer, whoever drafted that stuff, they thought that it all would just go right to the city. But the county attorney and I, both having looked at it a couple times now, think that it wasn't done properly to transfer from SCBA to the city. So SCBA still holds the enforcement mechanism, and they're still the holder of the easement, and they're the only ones who can enforce the easement. So even though the city owns the property, they don't own the easement, which is crazy. I mean, it's obviously somebody made a mistake.
Mhm.
And I think we can, if all the parties can agree, well, at this point, it would be just the county, SCBA, and the city of Monroe have to agree that really what SCBA meant to do was give the whole thing, including the easement, to the city.
Got
If
it.
that's what, yeah, if that's what you want to do, but it's too bad, but it's a wrinkle, but it also gives you the city of Monroe maybe a little more leverage than it otherwise would have had under this whole scheme that's going on. So anyway, that's really my only, SCBA would just need to agree to fill out basically a new quitclaim deed, or actually what they would need to do is do a new easement. If the city wants to accept that, that's the thing. If the city doesn't want to accept that property use easement where you're responsible for everything that goes on at that property. But again, you own the property outright. So it's really a tangle. It's really, yeah. So anyway.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have a quick, it would be helpful for me to have some reinforcement in the way that I'm thinking about this. So the city, as it stands, current state, we own the physical building and the property. The city of Monroe, okay.
Yes. Yes.
Easement is we are still trying to uphold the easement as it is right now, and that's what's in question. And then we can go into and negotiate the IGA once we get the easement figured out. Is that the correct assessment? That's what, it's just very convoluted, and I'm having a difficult time
It is.
understanding the layers.
I don't want to distract too much, but is this kind of like if the land had a covenant on it then, or?
Exactly. That's
Okay.
what it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So the property use easement says can only be used for library purposes. And then it just has an enforcement mechanism for the grantor. And that's another thing, anyway, it was sloppy drafting because the way that easement is drafted, it says that the grantor, who is SCBA, it doesn't say that they have the right to enforce. It says the county has the right to enforce. So they have things backwards. It's just messed up. It's not right. What the county attorney thinks the intent was that the city of Corvallis would have had the property subject to the easement and the county would get to enforce the easement. But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because the county doesn't own the building and the county was never given the easement.
The city of Corvallis or the city of Monroe?
City of Monroe.
Okay, got it.
Mhm.
Is there any chance that they meant on purpose for the county to have enforcement mechanism there, or do you think that's just, again, sloppy draftsmanship?
Yeah, I think it's sloppy. I mean, maybe. It just seems odd because, and I think it even misuses the word grantor. So up at the top of the, the covenantal, this restriction, the property use easement, the grantor is SCBA. But then later, I think it says grantor and it refers to the county. So it's just, I don't know what they intended, and that's the problem. Like even if there was a mistake, but you could clearly see what the intent was, then we could probably go forward and figure something out. But it's just so convoluted that I'm not sure what the intent was.
Sure. So does anyone have enforcement power over the terms right now, in your opinion? Or is that still to be determined?
I think that a plain reading of it would be that SCBA still holds the easement. Therefore, they're the ones who have the enforcement power of the easement. Yeah.
Councilor Cuthbertson, go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking, so if they've got kind of control over that, then we're kind of at the mercy of what they want then. Is that correct? Because if they're not wanting to deal with the city at this point, there's a lot of hurt feelings over here and it's really sad. We all wanted the same thing and we're divided, which is so ridiculous. I can't tell you, but at this point it's become a real tug of war. So
yeah,
it's really hard for us to be able to know how to make a decision and make a smooth outcome. None of us ever wanted to get rid of the library or not have a library. That was not an option that was on the table, but it was something that was kind of thrown in our face. And now we've got this big division that shouldn't be there. And it's very perplexing on how to work our way out of it and come together as a group for the betterment of the community.
Yeah.
Any suggestions?
Well, yeah, actually what I was going to suggest, and because there's so many parties and there are hurt feelings and there's a long-standing relationships there. I think a mediator, a neutral third party, a retired judge or something. This is what usually would happen. Have a retired judge come in or it could be a sitting judge too, really, for all that matters. But, and just get all the parties to sit down and talk about what they want out of these, agreements and what the intention was. I mean, but other than that, it's just gonna be the parties talking past each other or mad at each other. So anyway, I always advocate a neutral third party. Wouldn't have to be a judge. I don't know if you guys have any mediation services. I imagine like in Corvallis or some bigger cities around there, Eugene, there's mediation services. I know we used them when I was at the city of Medford. Again, it's gonna cost money, but each of the parties usually agrees to kick in. You know, if each party kicked in 500 or $1,000, I think you could probably hire a mediator. That's just my lawyer suggestion. But if you
Well-
all, I mean, you know your
Homeowner
community
got
better
divorced.
than I do. As far as
But I think the problem that we have is we're kind of up against a wall, as in we were trying to do our due diligence and take extra time and do an extension, but it seems to kind of be the feeling that on the other side, that's not going to happen.
Oh,
So I don't,
Yeah.
that kind of ties our hands in a way.
Well-
So it makes
well,
it
just
really
to-
hard.
if I may, Counselor Cuthbertson, I'm pretty sure the library will extend as much as we want on this.
No, they won't. Mark Shepherd has already said in an email, they will not be extending.
Hmm.
So,
Okay, so, and that brings up. a good
Initially, it
question.
sounded like that was the case, but it's like more recently.
Right.
Wait, does that mean he will not extend the
He doesn't wanna go
contract as
past
it
the
current?
9:30 date.
Sorry, hold on. Does that mean it won't be extended as it's currently written past 9:30?
Yeah,
or-
like he won't, basically, they won't do an extension of the current IGA like we did before for 90 days.
Actually, hang on a second
Was
here.
what-
Right.
So, in his last email, which is just a few days ago, the city, and I passed this on to the attorney and to the mayor, they're willing to continue with that,
Oh, they are.
but they're not gonna sign anything. In other words, and your resolution that you have here has been, the title of it has been changed based upon Lori's recommendation. We are basically unilaterally extending it because it's our termination date. And Lori, you can explain you were thinking out loud on your email with me.
Yeah.
But I did change it to exactly the wording that you suggested. The easements on the resolution is 2024-13, and it's towards the very back of your packet. But in essence, it moves it to 12/31/24. And Mark Shepherd and the county doesn't want to be part of this, as Lori knows. They want to write themselves out of the thing altogether. And the city is willing to, Corvallis is willing to stay on as long as we're willing to continue the IGA
As it is currently written.
as it is currently written.
okay,
Oh, okay.
So
That wasn't my understanding.
question though,
yeah.
because so the IGA, the whole thing with the IGA wasn't that we were in breach of problem or anything with the IGA, but that the other side was in breach of some of the pieces of the IGA. So how does that end up working out as we're moving forward?
It's the same
Because-
problems and issues. If they breach the IGA, then the city has to call them on it. And if they continue at that, then at some point, that's the reason why we're here to begin with, is because, but as the attorney was explaining, the easement, really, if we can't do anything with the library, then you folks have to make a decision whether that's okay or not.
What do you mean do anything with it? Sorry, what do you mean do, if we can't do anything with the library, like use the building for,
Any purpose we decide.
I mean, we use this building just fine. I'm not really that tied to using the library building for city council related stuff or city hall related stuff
And-
personally.
And I don't have a problem. My problem just is in the fact that in past, their big issue was it's dirty, it's not getting cleaned because they were holding events. But the
Mhm.
people that were coming to the events didn't have insurance and the city had no
Right.
knowledge. And so to me, that's a really big deal because there's no extracurricular money coming in to help with cleaning or do any of that or wear and tear on the building, or if somebody were to get hurt or sue or break something. And as a city, we need to protect our community. That's what we're here for, is to protect those that put us here to make choices for them.
I agree with that. I guess what I'm
So-
saying is like, there has been, and I hope this isn't like a detour, but we have talked about using
Yep.
some of the building, the library building for a new city hall, which I don't really support that. I think we should just get a new
So we
building.
talked about using it temporarily or permanently.
Mhm.
We do, the engineer has told us we need to get out of City Hall, so a
But
temporary solution at the very least.
what about this building?
That this building's in the same condition,
Made out of the
same material.
Okay, well, okay, so let me table that for a second, because
Okay.
so the other thing is, I totally agree with what you're saying, Counselor Cuthbertson, is like, we do need to be aware of when the spaces are being used so that we can go in and maintain it the way the library staff is apparently thinking that we're failing them, but the city of Corvallis didn't know that the library was being used that way. And maybe the library staff did, but the city of Corvallis didn't. And Director Chavez did say that she would be working more closely with library staff to make sure that we are getting the reports, that we are being made aware of when those buildings, the rooms are getting rented out. So I think we probably have to put a little bit of faith into that.
Hasn't happened.
Except it hasn't happened in how many years? We've also asked for the information. We still haven't got the report in full like we asked for too. So I understand, and I'm okay with giving somebody a second chance. But let's make the first chance happen first, because we've kicked that hockey puck down the field and nothing's happened with it.
Are we
We still
getting
don't have
notified
anything,
when the
so.
conference rooms do get rented out now?
I have no idea.
Are they using the shared calendar at this point?
We've had to do a lot of work on our side to validate the last two meetings, the last one with Dick Anderson
Mhm.
and the one previous to that, which was the school 8th grade dance,
Okay.
which we had to end up going to the school and working that out ourselves. Dick Anderson's was still left on the calendar as tentative. It was
Right.
never changed, so they're not
Remember that.
managing the calendars the way they're supposed to be.
Mm.
How long
So-
ago was that? I'm curious, just for a timeline of when we had that conversation with Director Chavez and when this failed to happen.
I have emails to the effect of giving, as I was asked by Taya.
We got somebody just dropped. in.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to, for those of you online, I'm gonna have to put you in a waiting room.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't see.
You don't want to accidentally let him record and that would be the opposite of what we wanted.
They probably thought they got logged off or something.
Probably.
Really quick question. How egregious was the misuse of those rooms? Like, how many times did they misrepresent those, using those rooms, not notifying us? Is that a common theme, or are those more the exceptions?
But the problem is that I'm not over there all the time, and either staff, we don't have cameras. We do know one instant where we did rent, the room was rented, a small conference room. We had another room rented for the big conference room. And when people went over, they found out they had moved to another room. We were not told of that. So, and we also know there's been other meetings over there because we see the cars and we say, well, Mark says, well, there's a meeting in there. And Don doesn't know that it is.
I have a question.
So, I mean, it does happen. I mean, and I guess the question is, if it happens consistently, even though it might be 1 or 2 times or 3 or 4 times a year, and it happens consistently, then that's a breach of contract. I mean.
It is a breach of contract, but they know now, and I think giving them a second chance, and then,
I have given, so for the record, I have given them a second chance. I gave them this information. She asked, what are the problems? I relayed both of those instances to her. And then it happened again with Dick Anderson. So I don't know.
When was the Dick Anderson event?
No, it was just, what, 2 or 3
Just
weeks
a few
ago?
weeks ago.
Yeah, it wasn't all that long ago
Would
now.
an MOU with stiff penalties, if that happened, be possible?
Well, okay, so we're going down into the IGA now, I guess.
Yeah.
And
with
and
that.
Counselor Myers had a
Yeah.
question.
My
so-
question is, you want me to go to Costco and buy some more cameras like I did for this building?
Well, I think we
Have
have
to.
to, but
We have to.
we
And-
have
and I
to
think that
find out
might
what's going
change-
on.
That might change some activities down there if everybody knows there's cameras in there.
Counselor Cuthbertson.
And keep in mind that this came up more out of the fact that they were upset that we weren't cleaning the building to their standard. And it
Mm.
was due to the activities they were allowing to be in there that
Delia
we
signing
didn't
back
know
on.
about, so we couldn't take care of that. So there was no, rental fee or deposit or supplies given to them saying, please, if you're going to rent these rooms, leave them in this condition. When we get it back, we'll check and we'll give you your deposit back. I mean, it's not even a matter of making the money to rent it. It's a matter of being a good steward over what we have.
Right.
And then for them to come to us and demand that we have more cleaning services because of this situation, when we don't even know when it is, and then to fault us because it's dirty and they're upset that it's dirty and we didn't know.
It's very
That's-
similar to what we had here.
Yeah,
We've had rental agreements for this building
Right.
in the past where they had to provide insurance and they also had to go through a permit process. So we can plan for the different events to make sure things are clean in between.
Mhm.
That's not happening down there. And I know we've been talking to them for over a year. So second chance we're down to 10th chance.
I know, but I just feel like there's more awareness, there's more community involvement now. And I think that, I mean, there are people that have come to these meetings and they understand our position and they understand that this is very divisive for us as a community. And that is a shining beacon of light for our town. I mean, it is used by county members, by Lane County members. I have friends that even before they knew I lived in Monroe, would tell me that they were going to go with their, kids to the Monroe Community Library. It would break my heart personally. And I think it would not be good for the community to have that beacon of light in our community. And I think we owe them whatever chance, whatever number this is to continue. Maybe we can write it in the IGA as a contingency. I don't know, but
I need support to enforce it, though. You're telling me what you want, and we have, but given the amount of staff we have here, how are we going to
understand.
enforce it? You're basically giving me a mandate that is unenforceable.
Is it possible that since Ashley Chavez does fundraising, I mean, could she come up with some money she has offered to do this before, so I don't want to discount it yet. Could she come up with some funds to have a professional cleaner come down here once a quarter, or maybe a book bin or whatever they're called, the book drop-off delivery person, pick up a few extra hours of deep cleaning,
well, and.
if that's their issue?
And she did offer something like that, but she also said it could take up to 8 years to come up with the funding. I don't want to wait 8 years.
We
Well,
can't.
So
Well,
we
the-
need something more definitive than that. I'm all for that, but I want to see progress and I want to see input. I don't want to see, we can see what we can do in about 8 years.
So
that's not-
1 second. So there was the whole bookmobile discussion and she talked about the county coming down and doing that cleaning, but Monroe would still have to pay for part of it.
Mhm.
So we're kind of in the same,
Well, part is a lot better than none. I mean, if
I
we-
understand, but it's still,
Here's what you gotta look at. Everybody in the county pays tax to the county library district. We all pay that same tax
Yes.
as everybody else. Everybody else doesn't pay the other tax that everybody in this city pays.
The
to
city
maintain it.
taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, to maintain the building.
So it's like the fire department. If only the city of Monroe paid for that fire department, but everybody else got to use it. That's the same analogy.
I think a lot of people in this town would be okay with that even still.
Yeah, I agree.
But you haven't given it to the voters, though.
We'd have to open up the taxing district for the library to include Bell Fountain and Alpine and all the outlying areas. And that's the only way you'd be able to do that.
Well, I mean, I would think about it this way too. I mean, that's a draw for a lot of people into the community. I mean,
Yeah.
If we subsidize a little bit
I
there,
think it's a great idea to
we could
have it.
potentially get that back in local businesses, attraction to the city, people who want to move here. I mean, it's a good thing that we have that not a lot of other people have. I mean, if we
Yeah.
decided to axe the library, I mean, that could stunt the growth of the town, which is something we're all really looking for here.
Well, and is it really axing the library? You have how many people sitting out here in the chairs? If it does go back to the library group, do you not think that the library group wouldn't make that happen anyway?
They were the same group that made it happen in the first place.
Well, why can't that group do
So that's
fundraising
a
to
thought
raise
too.
money for janitorial then?
Why can't what?
Why
who?
can't they raise money or funds to pay for the operations maintenance
Well, they
janitorial?
haven't been given that opportunity, as far as I can see. I could be speaking wrong, but in my eyes, they haven't even been given that opportunity because they haven't had really a voice at the table, except they're irritated at us because we have to deal with the SBR or whatever group and City of Corvallis. It has never gone beyond that because we have to fix the IGA before we can entertain anything else. And nobody can talk about that till we get the first part done.
Well,
And that's just
yeah.
in my viewpoint.
the
Does anybody else have something
SPCEA,
else?
they actually probably have a couple $100,000,
Mhm.
but it's earmarked only for capital improvements.
So you're talking about the legacy fund?
Yeah. the
Library
legacy
legacy fund.
But-
Yeah,
Also over
they-
that.
they don't
It
have-
has no bearing on the legacy
Right.
fund has no
No.
bearing on
But
this.
what I'm
It
saying
But
is,
they
you're-
might be willing to do more.
that's what we have to talk to them about. You have a
Right.
legacy fund. Would you mind having an operating fund?
I mean, because we're out of options.
We are.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But that hasn't really even, in my estimation, that hasn't really even crossed the table yet because we've been so busy trying to at least get something going between the library district and ourselves that we haven't.
So are
spoken with
majority of
anybody
these
else.
people part of the SBCEA?
I think it's just a couple of people, like it's only under, my understanding is it's only one or two main people. Is that right? It's like one person's
Roger
name
Irwin
registered.
And
There's Dorothy,
Dorothy
Dorothy
is the
Brinker-Hall.
secretary.
and Melissa.
Yes, Melissa's the other. There's three of them. I just had this online,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
Oregon Registry, Business Registry. They are current. They were not current for a year or two, but they reinstated themselves in October of last year, and
Mm.
filed their
Okay.
corporate amendments.
Got
And
it.
Roger is the president,
Okay.
and he was in the room this evening.
Yes.
Did you say, I'm sorry.
He was in this evening.
Roger was in the room this evening.
Yeah.
So can I ask with the executive session, we're supposed to make a decision, but the decision is on, sounds like it's something to do with this easement,
Yeah.
not with the IGA specifically.
I'd like to see us propose a rewritement of the easement, because like Lori said, when I read it, came to the same conclusion you did, and I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
It's like a fifth grader wrote it.
Yeah. Let me just say, I think, so you can't make any decision in executive session, but you can kind of come to it.
Oh, no, I just was
Right,
wondering what decision are we actually, like, what are we talking about? and What's our
Right.
choices?
And I wanted to talk about your resolution that you have on your agenda tonight, and that's to extend. So that's not really extending the IGA, and that was kind of the confusion with the county sent I think it was a county, Steve. So anyway.
Mark did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Mark
sent an
did on
email.
behalf of him and the county.
Right, so you're not extending the IGA. The IGA is there, right? And it exists right now. What you, the city of Monroe did is you sent a notice, because under the IGA, if you want to get out of the IGA, terminate your participation, you have to send a notice by June 1st of the year, and then you go to the end of the year being part of the IGA, and then you're out. Well, you gave your notice, but then you extended the effective date of that notice just to try to untangle all these issues.
Right,
So
right.
that's all you're doing now is a second extension to see if we can, if you can work with the other partners. Now, you wouldn't have to extend it, but then you'd be done, but December 31st, you'd be out of the IGA. Now, I'm not sure that's what you want to do. But maybe it is. But the thing is, if you're out of the IGA, you still own that building. And there's still those restrictions on that building, and it can only
Right.
be used as a library. So
We
you're
still
moving
have
on.
to deal with the easement. Yeah.
Right. So, anyway, so your resolution, that's up to you how you vote on that. Extending it to me makes some sense to try to figure things out. But I want to go back to what you said earlier about a breach of the agreement, the IGA. The IGA is pretty specific about how you deal with disputes, and it's arbitration.
Mhm.
And that's kind of along the same lines I was suggesting earlier, where you pick somebody to hear all sides,
I think
and
that's the path.
Mhm.
yeah.
On the IGA, yeah.
So anyway, and yeah, I just think that, before things would get to this point in the future, like hopefully you'd have like a representative from each party to send letters to saying, hey, you guys aren't upholding your end of the bargain. We need to deal with this, try to get, I know this isn't doing any good right now, but I'm just looking forward to like.
It's
how it
really
could-
helpful
it-
for future.
It could work smooth. It could work smoothly. It just there needs to be good intent on all sides. And I just sense it's a money issue. And like Steve said, the county's back like, oh, we don't want to be part of this. Well, they're part of it, whether they like it or not. They're in it. So anyway, I don't think you have to do much tonight except listen to what the public says. And then, you could give some direction at the end of the council meeting, give direction to Steve to work with me and the county lawyer, or whoever, to figure out next steps, or try to see if reach out to SCBA and see if they're willing to fix the property use easement language. We could try to figure out what to do. It's not going to be something quickly done, though. I can tell you right now, given the attitude of some of the parties, I think that's why I think it would be important for, like you said, you kind of seem like you agree to have a neutral party, kind of just say, hey guys, let's talk about what the best path forward is here, so that you don't have distrust or whatever, that whoever is in charge is biased, right? The person that you would hire would not be biased. They would just be here to solve the dispute. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Right.
that's what I suggest.
Well, one more question for you, if I could. You mentioned more clearly delineating the roles of the parties. Could you quickly say how you would ideally for the city of Monroe like to see that laid out?
Well, just knowing not very much about your situation, but like hearing what Steve said and in some earlier emails Steve said, just like very clearly saying what some of your issues were, like groups using that, please obey the calendar, or we're going to have a calendaring system that needs to be adhered to. And if it isn't, here's what the ramifications are. I don't know what those might be. But when I'm hearing you say events don't have insurance, that's a concern. That's scary. It's your building. If somebody gets hurt in
That's
that
our liability. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly right.
so I think
Mhm.
that's something that needs to be more clearly delineated, and maybe there'd be some kind of check system where you don't get to nobody gets the keys to that room until everybody's seen that, some kind of approval process that ties in everybody and makes sure it's done properly. That would be, there'd be more. I'd have to, counselor, I didn't have a lot of time to think about the delineation of change, but I just think it can be cleaned up. The IGA and the property use easement are both kind of outdated at this point. I think that needs to be updated as to in current, what your staffing levels can be, what your money, for all the parties. Because I think it's just woefully out of date at this point, and obviously isn't keeping up with the reality on the ground, so that's what it would be.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Should
Thank you.
getting something so simple as like an indemnification promise from the library be enough there?
I don't know if it'd be enough, but it'd be a large step in the right direction. Yeah, and I think I would like to see something in the IGA that, that indemnifies, and I'd have to look at it again quickly, but just making it clear who's responsible for what. And
Yeah.
if there's a dispute or there's a damage of some sort, whose insurance is going to pay for that? Things like that. I think it's not super hard, but I just need to know all the moving parts to be able to tie that together. So, yeah.
The irony that this giant can of worms is all because they wanted deeper cleaning. I understand wanting deeper cleaning, but then we learned about all these events happening, and then the contract that's very old and dated and not even sensible or sensical. It's just, this has dragged the council and the mayor and the city hall and the staff and the community for 8 months now. Like, it's just
Yeah.
exhausting.
It is. I
I
agree.
fully support a mediator or a third party getting involved in this.
As do I.
So the mediator would be for the IGA though, correct?
Yeah,
Or for the easement as well, if we're gonna bring the SBCE in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think,
Okay.
I think it'd have to be
Okay.
both, because they work in tandem, really. Even though they
Okay.
don't mention each other, they're tied together because they have to be,
Well-
because of the use restriction.
And that might be helpful too, because that might also then bring into, like we've talked about before, be able to bring in a voice of the people that want to support that in the community, to be able to give them a way to do it.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of people that were like, if it's as simple as cleaning, we can fundraise, but we just don't have a mechanism for that because the way we have to do this and make it all done. So if we do that, then that might actually open that discussion up a little more for people in our own community to support, instead of button heads with the library district over it.
Yeah, I think that the latest proposal for the IGA did address that donations made to the library specifically could be used for.
Yeah, there
purpose.
was a donation piece in there, yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
But that's not a sustainable solution. Long
Right.
term, right?
Right.
I wouldn't
You're
want to
exactly
bank on
right.
that.
Yeah.
And also we need to really, as counselors, need to know, and the community needs to have the numbers ready, because you know how uncomfortable it is when we're sitting here asking Ashley for numbers and she can't give them and they're squishy, right?
Mhm.
We need to be very certain on our numbers of what we're putting in as a community into that building, so that we know that number and what that looks like,
Mhm.
so that we can then answer that question, moving forward, be able to say, well, this is what we are doing on top of the tax that you're already taxed. And this is how much of the money that is going to this building. Because that, for some of us, yeah, it's like, I'll pay whatever, but others in the community
Yeah,
might not want to.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we are here to support everybody in the community.
Mhm.
So I think that it's important that we get that.
I think that we should have, in addition to the library in Corvallis, I think that we also need to be really clear on how much regular cleaning would cost.
Mhm.
So that we can go to them with, when we're at a place after we've mediated and everything, so that we can go to them and say, all right, we've spoken with a professional cleaning service.
Mhm.
This is how much it would cost for you guys to get the deep clean that you want. What did you guys think it was gonna cost? And make sure that we're aligned. And because I think that part of the problem is they don't know what it's supposed to cost. We don't know what it's supposed to cost really. And again, with the ambiguity of the numbers and how tax-paying dollars are being used, and we don't, and I get it, it's a county-wide library system. So it's hard to track all the usage and
Well-
materials, but like we are tax-paying citizens and South Benton County residents do pay into it.
And if we knew who was using it and we enforce our fees, that would help pay for some of the cleaning too. Hello, that's why we talked about doing it.
Yeah, I'd love to see the library responsible for the day-to-day and then bill us with maybe a yearly cap, because then they'd have no one to complain to but themselves. And that would take that antagonism off the table entirely. And if they went over budget and used that early in the year and we had that cap, then that would just be on them.
Is that
That
something
would-
we could do? Like an allotment per year? Is that kind of what you're saying? Like, this
Yeah.
is your budget for cleaning? Anything beyond that is on you?
I think that what you first stated is probably, at this point in our budget, we only budgeted for minimal. And some of it was based upon professional people who did come in and look at the building.
Mhm.
And they said, if you're going to professionally clean this and you're going to get people from Albany or Corvallis or Eugene to travel to Monroe
Yeah.
to do it, it would be approximately, the total burden cost to us would be approximately $50 an hour. Okay, so, but that's an average based upon high cleaning, low cleaning, a schedule for the rooms. Those are fur floors. They have different cleaning than the rugs. That's rug cleaning. Windows. We have high areas outside that have to be washed with scaffolding and other things. So that's what they were giving me, is that level of cost. Now, you'd have to get an RFP, go out there and probably hire a building facility person to write exactly what that building needed, then go out for bids and, request for proposals
Mhm.
and find out what it's going to cost to do that. That's how it's done. So
Well, couldn't we shift that cost to the library too? Just say, you tell us how much you think, negotiate that down to hopefully less than we're currently paying and say, we're going to contract with you to clean it out for us.
it is our building, and so it needs to be built. I would have to say that we'd have to develop the standards.
Yeah.
And then once the standards were developed,
Mhm.
then you get cleaning, and whether we do it or they do it.
Yeah. Like maybe
um,
throw in a yearly inspection or quarterly or whatever we thought was appropriate to make sure it's actually getting done rather than.
Yeah, the
Just leave it to
contractors,
wishes.
but it is our building and we
Mhm.
are responsible for it. So, and in terms of the IGA, this gets to the cost share piece.
Mhm.
How much are we going to ask the city of Corvallis? So I also want to make sure that we understand this in perspective too. Our entire operations budget for this city,
Mhm.
not SDCs and not reserves, just my operating budget, which you folks
We got somebody else
approved,
that-
I'm seeing,
Somebody else has popped on.
is $1.1 million. The city of Corvallis's library, and the library alone is 7.1 something million dollars. Now, as a citizen of Corvallis, and I'm taking off my Monroe hats, all my Monroe hats right now, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
What are they doing with that money? And it's a system-wide budget. They can't tell me any more they can tell you what any of the operating items are underneath that. At least in our budget, it's all delineated. Theirs
Right.
isn't.
Yeah.
So and how much of that money is actually coming to Monroe?
Yeah, we don't know.
Zero.
Zero.
Well, we don't know if it's zero, but we certainly can't
Well,
track it. There's no transparency.
They can't.
There's
yeah.
nothing coming to Monroe except the library. That's what they're providing for us. There is no money coming to the city hall in terms of a check for anything. I mean, that's definitive, that we are not getting any money from the taxpayers. So all of you and me paying taxes into the library system is going to the city of Corvallis. And they're refusing to give us a dime. So that's where you're at on that particular issue.
I'm
They
curious
refuse to give
about,
us a dime, and that's for Mark Shepherd. They will not do it unless they have a system-wide discussion, and the answer for a timeline is not anytime soon.
right. I wonder how much the salary for that one librarian is and whether it equates to the South Benton County tax base.
You can look it up online,
I don't know.
but I don't know what it is.
Public
Yeah.
employee, but I just wonder how much, like of all the people down here that are paying taxes toward the library, specifically the library system, is that the same? Is it like dollar for dollar equivalent to the salary? Because if it is, then we don't have an argument. But if we're paying a lot more than is covering the salary, or what if the salary is more than what we're paying toward the
You don't
library?
know because you don't know how much they're
Yeah.
spending.
Yeah, and we probably
And-
won't know.
And you won't because it's a quote, a system-wide budget. They have hidden the money. That's outrageous. It's
Yeah.
not transparent,
Yeah,
and we can never get away with that down here.
and I'm
They
sorry,
did-
but it's
they
also
do
Mark
for their
Shepherd.
library. So
Sorry.
Yeah, this is all privileged information, not to be discussed. I just had some negative things to say about that guy, but I'll keep it to myself.
I have
Not,
a-
also not a fan of Mark Shepherd.
But
Yeah, I have a,
I may at some point, as a citizen of Corvallis,
Yeah.
visit their city council and maybe exercise my 3 minutes in front of their august body.
I hope you
But
do.
anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Sure.
What is the fact that we do, and the other issue when we bring up use of that building, one of the ideas, and I'll just refresh the concept, was we have limited amounts of money. City Hall is not tenable anymore for our citizens that visit there and do that, or for staff. Our staff are very, very concerned,
Yeah,
just to let you know.
Mhm.
So the issue is we have to put a amount of money into that building to maintain it. But if we were somewhere else, I see the library, we could actually take that money and utilize it there and maybe make that work a little easier. It's about trying to leverage what you have. Now, if no one wants to do that and all that, then we have to make a choice, because putting a modular building or doing that, a matter of a lease is about $2,000 a month.
Mhm.
So are we gonna spend $2,000 a month in the library? Are we gonna spend $2,000 a month on City Hall? Or are we gonna raise taxes? I mean,
Are there
those
grants
your
available?
choices. Those
Are-
are really your choices.
are there grants available for small towns that need new infrastructure, like buildings, like city hall
No.
buildings?
Not
No.
usually.
No, there isn't
And we're talking about just using the small conference room, right?
at the moment, but I'll be also very clear. It's the small conference room is not City Hall's first choice. It
Right.
is noisy. We have a lot of things going on. There's gonna be kids going back and forth. It's just not, it would be a great temporary solution if we were doing something. The real issue is that still gonna have to maintain City Hall at some point, and you're still gonna have to maintain a library if you choose to keep the library and keep paying for it. You can also then give it back to the county or to SBCE and let them take care of it. I don't think they're gonna stop using the library.
Mhm.
I mean, they're not gonna close the doors on you. I
yeah,
mean, that would be silly. They would keep it open and find another way. Maybe they'll give it to Corvallis or Benton County. All those, by the way, were discussed by Ashley and with me.
Yeah.
That the city would take it, the county would take it. That's one of the options that she presented.
Right.
Yeah, I
So-
thought she didn't think,
Mark Shepherd didn't want to have
didn't-
anything
yeah.
with the building, and neither did the county.
Yeah,
So
they both were
they've stepped back.
In the last month, both of them have backed off. But
Hmm.
originally, that was, the discussions were towards the county or the city. And regardless, according to our attorney, the SBCEA is probably the people it would go back to, the ones who built the library.
I just have one input for the council. I'm very apprehensive about talking about using verbiage to the community, about using that even temporarily. the library office space, the different conference rooms for city hall purposes. We've had many discussions within city hall and they've flopped. Every month it kind of goes back and forth. Yes, we have talked about that as an option of what is on our plate to be able to choose from. But we've also gone with the portable building several times. I mean, because every time we talk about it, I'm like, man, didn't we just kind of like hone in on this? And then the next time it's something different.
It's called a motion and a vote.
Right. But I
And
just,
and you have, I mean, so you're right. What you're saying is that you've all discussed it.
True.
You appear divided.
Mhm.
Someone's gonna have to motion, someone's gonna have to vote, and we're gonna have to go with what that is.
we haven't even gotten that far.
You can still motion and say it.
Well, I just,
We can't in this meeting, right? You'd have to be in.
We're to a point, what we're saying is we've reached the end is you're have kicked the can down the road, I think, as far as you can go.
Joining.
Someone else has bumped in.
Hi, Amanda. Sorry, have to put you in a waiting room. You kicked the can down the road, I think, as far as you can at this point. We've discussed a lot of things. As Councilor Williams has said, we've gone back and forth on different options. It's now time to choose something.
Yeah,
And
I agree
put
with
a
you.
stake
It's
in the
bad
ground
optics.
and go with
it
it.
is, it's definitely, but
It's not a good look for the city to take over part of a library that was gifted to the city, in my opinion. It is a beautiful building. I know that we need a building and I know the staff are concerned for their safety in the current city hall. But I think my personal vote, you all know, obviously, would be to get a new building over on Commercial Street. I just don't think it's a good look for us to take over the library or even part of it.
Nope.
Personally.
That's,
I agree. Right now, at this moment in time, I agree. But what are next steps for this? Because I know we've got people out there that
Mhm.
probably are anxious to come back in. What are we?
phrase, I think what,
Sounds like mediation.
it sounds like mediation, starting with the easement and then IGA. Is that, Lori, is that an accurate summary?
Yes.
So so that would be what we would request then when we move back into public.
You would make basically, you would
motion.
deliberate. And then you would reach a motion. You need to make a
Mhm.
motion as to
Mhm.
how you wish to go and then vote on that motion. And I'm assuming the motion would be something around mediation, starting with the easement, because if that doesn't go anywhere, then that clearly tells you the IGA is probably,
A moot
it's not a
point.
non-starter.
Yep.
And then move on to the IGA once the easement has been successfully mediated and negotiated between the parties, however all of you wish it to be.
I would like to see the public input first and then maybe one last chance for negotiation before we move to the mediation. And let's hear what the public is willing to accept and what they exactly want. Give the library another chance to take an offer from us
But
before we go into a thing that binds us in.
so that's still kicking the can down the road a long time.
I mean, even to the end of the meeting. I mean, just getting the public
Okay.
input
well,
and
the-
talking to the
that
library. I
can
mean, if-
certainly be placed on the agenda by the mayor.
if the library tells us to go take a hike, if we even give a suggestion, I mean, then there's no point in not going for mediation. But if they seem open, I mean, even just another month to make that motion, that could be in our interest.
This is,
But isn't that what mediation, I think that's what the mediation is supposed to be. Is that we would have somebody come in and kind of take this over, so it would take the heat off it. And I think that's,
another month, this is just, it's a social media catastrophe right now.
I mean,
And waiting another month, this is only gonna get worse.
mediation is probably going to split the baby. I mean, there's always a chance we can get more than we would out of a mediation if we have another little bit chance for a talk. Like I said, I don't know. We can hear what they say and we can make that motion for
There,
mediation this
have,
meeting.
we've got a public hearing piece coming up. There'll be questions there.
And if
Can
everyone walks
answer
in and
those
says,
questions and.
Yeah.
we can go-
I think what you're actually asking for, James, Mr. Whitner, Counselor Whitner, I don't know if I say it right, right? It went through. Is hold off on our motion for the mediation suggestion until after the public hearing.
Yeah,
It's reasonable.
I think it seems, yeah, I mean, we'll have a decision today. We'll know and we'll get to gauge, you
So
know.
we could proceed with what we talked about in this session
So
after we hear that public hearing. So
Oregon public meeting law and executive sessions, is that going to fly with them?
Lori, how best to proceed with this?
What, I didn't understand what you said, how is going to fly, Mayor? What did you-
Well, in terms of coming out of executive session, the mayor would like to know, I guess, some guidance on what to say to the folks when they come back in the room.
I wouldn't say
About-
much.
About our proceedings.
I wouldn't say much. You know, you can just say that you were discussing with your attorney what some options might be, and that's really all you need to say, and I wouldn't really say too much more.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
And by
then-
the way, with the whole mediation idea, like you can make that motion if you decide to later tonight, that's great, but that would require the other parties to agree. to
Yeah.
come to the
Right.
table. So, right, I mean,
So-
under the IGA, it's pretty definitive that if there's a dispute, then there's arbitration, and it's kind of messy where each side picks an arbitrator, and then those two arbitrators pick a third arbitrator who will hear
Oh
it.
my
I think that's convoluted and ridiculous, but I think if the parties agree to just do more of an informal mediation for the IGA part, if we get to that point, that would be fine. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that it's not, you guys can do that, kind of put the olive branch out, you want to talk about it. The other parties may just be like, forget it, we don't want to do this. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we, but since we have the memo and that was about the easement and stuff, are we allowed to say that we want the mediation for the easement piece as well, or are we not to talk about that piece? That's.
No, you
what
can talk about that. So my memo, I had to write it kind of quickly this afternoon, but really what the memo does is just gives cover. I hate to say it that way, but under the executive session statute, that memo is not,
Yeah.
right, not disclosable under the Public Records Act. So I just did a quick memo, but we can discuss other things that came under that subject, which they obviously did. So yeah, we're fine on the executive session.
I just don't want to goof up.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I need more, I just need a tiny bit of clarification. So we can do a motion, we don't have to do it right after executive session. We can do it after the public hearing if we want to.
Right, and I would advise
Okay.
that really, because that's why you're having a
Okay.
public hearing. We want people to vent, but you also want to hear, there may be some
Yeah.
solution offered, who knows, you know,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions while we have the attorney here?
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes.
And thank
you.
you for spending so much
Well,
time.
I think Lori's gonna stick around for a little bit, aren't you?
Actually do have another client who has council meetings on Monday nights, and they're having an executive session after their meeting, which their meeting starts at 7, so it probably won't be till 8 or a little later. So I'll stick around as much as I can, and I may dip out for a few minutes to be on the phone with them and come back if the public hearing is still going on, which I hope it's not. But and Steve, should I just dial into you guys have a different council chambers in this room? You're not doing it in this room, are you?
Well, yes, our original council chambers were very, very small in the building that is seismically unstable. And
Right,
during COVID, we had to spread out.
I get it.
So we basically kept the same format. It would be
Okay.
nice to have a nice chamber somewhere, but this is it.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning, should I just stay on this Zoom link right now?
Sure, yes, please.
Okay, okay.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Right.
please.
People back on and
Yeah,
stuff.
no, everyone's gonna come in the room. You'll see them
Perfect.
shortly.
All right. I'm gonna hide my face for a few minutes, so.
All right, thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Yep.
I'm-
No,
Let folks back in, but only when you're ready.
I need to use the restroom.
All right, sir.
I need 2 minutes.
I should, okay,
Can
sorry, I
we-
shouldn't volunteer on behalf of others.
Can we close and let people know so they can come in? No, I don't know.
Now, the mayor, I'll let him,
That's an
He
executive
was urgent.
bathroom.
executive session. He had his own executive session.
Oh, dear.
Thank you. I've been instructed to shred.
I'll get you the guitar.
You know, I've always wanted to learn how to do that. There's some absolute phenomenal kids on YouTube.
Yeah, isn't that
that can
amazing?
I mean, it's just, one of them plays Mozart's third,
Sure.
and I just plays it just as good, better on the guitar, I think, than the piano. And it's
Awesome.
just phenomenal.
If you want, I got a couple of loud amplifiers and
There we go.
take it down to City Hall, see what you got.
I have some Advent speakers.
There you go. I mean,
They haven't been played in 30 years, but
200-watt bass amp. That thing will Get as loud as you want it to.
Yep.
Louder than you want it to.
Let's let them in because I'm getting texts.
We're out of executive session at.
Hang on 1 second. Let me let everyone in.
Yeah.
Counselor Winther's using the restroom as well. Perfect.
Guess this isn't getting over at 8 o'clock, is it?
No, you thought it was?
No.
That was an hour.
I saw this one. It's until 9.
I'm glad I got Friday off. I can tell you that. I didn't know if I was gonna come. but then- Yes. My brother asked me on Friday. Yeah. And,
I feel bad for my comments.
He was at work. He's in home training.
Oh, well.
He manages. it,
Scrub.
but,
No.
you know, he let him
Can't do that.
stay behind for what his-
He was at work tonight.
Yeah, yeah, they found him unconscious. He went to go do something.
The most uncomfortable chairs.
Let me tell you something. The other ones were worse.
Really? Okay, so I need to.
Your feet didn't touch.
So the
And so you'd
assistant,
be sitting there
manager,
holding with
so
your
he was
feet
like-
onto
he was
the
like,
chair the whole
big up
meeting,
like
so you'd be
half hour.
facing forward, because if you let go, you'd go,
Well, then
"Ah,"
I need to be.
and your butt would fall asleep, and you didn't, and it would cut your circulation off, so your legs would be all tingly.
Then
and-
I need to be appreciative.
Yeah,
I
and
need
they
to
were,
be-
they're
Thank
wooden.
you for the reminder.
That was awful. And you were like this close to each other.
Okay, I
So-
appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah,
for-
it was hot. It was, this is like, yeah.
City council meetings were a pain. They were a pain.
Is better, but I agree. I end up having to stand up, which I might have to do again tonight. I don't like to have to do that, but
Money, you know.
yeah,
I didn't think I did.
401k or
My
any of that,
son leaves
so-
for his 10th grade, guys. Yeah, I feel it.
yeah.
Out of our own pockets for my mom and dad. So we got, that's such a good stuff.
Yeah, mine's real bad after the accident, so I can't sit for very long. I have to move, so
I always worry about that.
it's just not,
I have Brady's cardiac.
I mean, it's improved,
That's what I'm
but
doing.
it's not gonna ever be well, I don't think. And so I'm gonna have to.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, 'cause I just can't. I'm just in constant. I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm getting older too. and-
9, he'll be 40 in a couple weeks.
Still, and I don't want this to be my normal.
Right, no, for sure. I hear that. Oh,
But also, it's, what am I gonna do now? I'm really old. Where do I go?
you know what? It will-
Yeah, because I'm not, my traveling is too long. Post office, the packages are too heavy now. Because I have to carry once in a 50 pounds up and downstairs, and you just can't keep the pace up, so. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Wow, it's nice and quiet in here. All right, we'll go ahead and we have come out of our executive session and we discussed with the city attorney options for the library. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on. But before we get to the public hearing, I do have a statement that I'm going to read on behalf of the city council. So bear with me, please. And I'll be reading, so I apologize if I'm not making eye contact with everyone in the room. How did this start? Initially, this all began with the Intergovernmental Agreement, or IGA, for library services and the city of Monroe seeking to renegotiate the IGA between all parties to include cost share of utilities and maintenance of the library portion of the building. The current IGA tasks the citizens of Monroe with the cost of maintaining the entire building for the library when the building is also used for the greater South Benton County Monroe community outside of city limits. This inequity creates a very difficult financial situation for the city of Monroe. The city does not have the necessary funding to maintain the entire building, and the city must either reduce services or add a fee that in effect requires Monroe citizens to pay twice for the library. Once for receiving library services through their Benton County property taxes, and again for maintaining the library facilities by the city of Monroe. The additional costs are not shared by residents who live outside the city. What needs to be in a new IGA to move forward? A fair and equitable IGA where the library should be contained within the area of the building designed to deliver library services. Also, the city wishes to reserve the right to use the remaining building area, including the 2 conference rooms in the restored depot area, as council deems appropriate without restrictions or other conditions. In particular, the cost of utilities and janitorial services for the library itself should be included in the cost of the library services provided by the city of Corvallis and passed on to all residents of the area that benefit from the use of the library. Where are we at? Like peeling an onion, we've pulled back multiple layers and found, for as much attention as we've placed on the new IGA, after digging in with the help of the city attorney and conversations with the Benton County attorney, the focus of our IGA negotiations has changed, and it must begin with the property use easement. In this situation, the Monroe Community Library, the IGA is the subordinate to the easement. As a result, there has been significant time reviewing the easement, which has led us down a couple paths where we've scratched our heads and wondered about some of its interesting language. Admittedly, this has taken some time to unknot. What was there to unknot? First of all, there's the question of who owns the entire building and property. Is it South Benton Community Enhancement Association, Benton County, or the city of Monroe? The attorneys both agree the building and property are owned by the city of Monroe. However, the property use easement states, and I quote, "It is the purpose of this easement to assure that the property will be retained forever for library purposes," unquote. This has been interpreted as the city of Monroe cannot use the building for anything else. This ties the city's hands, and believe it or not, the city owns, insures, cleans, and maintains the entire building, and the city of Monroe has no say in how to use it. Why is the easement important? If you look back at the Monroe Community Library timeline and facts document that's available here, it was available, I believe, at the table over there. It's provided tonight, specifically referencing May 13th, 2024 City Council work session notes. A licensed structural engineer inspected Monroe City Hall. Due to the terracotta brick construction of this building, it is not a seismically sound structure. In fact, city employees should not be working in it at all. The engineer recommended the city demolish the building and either rebuild or move to another location. The city council believes this should be done as soon as possible. Here's the problem, though. The city of Monroe owns a handful of buildings, but there's only one building that is structurally sound, could be used temporarily or permanently as a city hall, and could survive an earthquake, and that building is the Monroe Community Library. The city council understands how much the community loves this library. We all do. The issue comes down to having sufficient funding to ensure the city of Monroe can maintain that entire building as it is meant to be maintained. We don't want to shortchange this beautiful building, do we? Of course not. Think about this for a moment. If the city of Monroe vacated the current City Hall building and operated City Hall from the small meeting room in the restored depot section of the building with the library, this coexisting of both the community library and the City Hall spaces and combining of resources in the same building would actually allow the city to maximize its scarce resources to better maintain the building as it should be. Otherwise, the city will need to make a better choice between supporting its staff and citizens with a safe location to work and conduct business, or continuing to pay additional for a building it can't use. Give me a second here, guys. What's next? As previously mentioned, we need to start with the property use easement, which either needs to be updated or extinguished and returned to the original property owner, which we believe is South Benton Community Enhancement Association. To finish untangling the easement, the city of Monroe needs to work with the South Benton Community Enhancement Association and see if they're willing to modify that easement. The city attorney will help us with this next step. If the easement can be worked out, we can return to negotiating a new IGA with the city of Corvallis and Library Director Chavez. So what will it take to wrap this up? Once the easement issue is settled, it all depends on the city of Corvallis and their willingness to continue negotiations with the city of Monroe after the September 30th, 2024 IGA extension deadline, and acknowledge that cost share is part of the agreement. Tonight, the city council is looking at a resolution to extend the Monroe Community Library Services IGA from September 30th, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. This will provide both the city of Monroe and the city of Corvallis more time to review new proposals, including Library Chavez's latest proposal, which she discussed with the council at the August 12th, 2024 city council work session, and work together towards a mutual agreeable IGA that benefits the citizens of Monroe and South Benton County's residents. How do we stay informed? The council has regular city council work sessions on the second Monday of the month. City council meetings on the fourth Monday of every month. Please visit the City of Monroe website at ci.monroe.or.us and navigate to the city schedule on the homepage for a list of the next scheduled meetings. Also, all city council meetings and work sessions are posted on the City of Monroe's Facebook page. How do we contact you for questions between meetings? It's a great question. And it's an important question that needs to be answered. The council would like to stress avoiding social media for answers to your questions relating to topics discussed and addressed by the Monroe City Council. Your best bet for the most accurate information is reaching out via email to myself, any of the city councilors, or City Hall at cityhall@monroeoregon.gov. Lastly, speaking on my own behalf, please feel free to call City Hall, and I'm happy to set up a time to chat with anybody at City Hall or a place that is more conducive to a conversation. I want to thank you all for your time, and thank you for listening. And I need another moment here. Counselor, can you read section 3.1 for the audience, please? Yes.
Public hearing will be conducted for the purpose of answering questions and providing clarification on issues regarding the Monroe Community Library.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight we'll be accepting questions. We will answer them the best that we can. If we can't answer your question, we're going to notate it and we will get an answer for you and we will come back. Now, I know that REA, he is representing a number of people in the audience tonight. What I'm going to have him do is hold on and I'm going to have him wait. I want to see who else in the audience that's not associated with REA and his group who want to come up, identify themselves, let us know if you live in the city of Monroe or outside of the city of Monroe, and come up to the microphone and ask your question. Come on up and.
Yeah.
It's a simple question.
Yeah.
My name is Joe Evans, and I've lived in Alpine for the past 30 some odd years. And me, like a lot of my other neighbors, were deeply involved in putting this library together. I'd like to feel like you understand how I feel about it. It's not the Monroe Library. That's just where it sits. Bell Fountain, Monroe, I mean, spread out. A lot of us live between. I happen to live in the suburbs of Alpine, but that's okay.
So I
just want you to understand, I understand Monroe takes on responsibility. That's the Monroe building. And this is our hub. You know, this is our town. I understand that legally there is a boundary for your responsibilities between the city and county, let's say. The library, that's community. That's not city, that's not county. That's all of us that went, we want this as a library. Okay? That's just my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. So this is an opportunity to ask questions, and I appreciate your comment. Thank you very much.
Addressing things that you'd already stated, as in,
I understand.
we wish to use this for whatever reasons you have to use it,
Absolutely.
but it's.
I understand. We've got it.
that's
I just, for, purposes of protocol for the meeting, we're gonna have questions. There is a public comment period after this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're good now. So who else has a question? Come on up. Please identify yourself. Let us know if you live in the city of Monroe or if you live outside city limits.
My name is Theo Jones. I lived in the city of Alpine since I was 3 years old, recently moved out a few months ago. I can understand your concern about not having a meeting area. Is that right?
Speaking to
Is-
City Hall specifically?
yeah.
Okay.
Is there any fundraising campaigns for building a new location for it?
Not at this point in time, no. We're still
the
discussing
community-
what our options are with that.
I was thinking the community might be very willing to do that for you. I mean, we donated
Yeah.
to build that library too, so
Right.
we can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? I promise we don't bite.
Not hard.
Anything is on the table.
With regard to the library.
Yeah.
Hey, come on up.
All right, I'm Clint Monfalcon. I live in Alpine. I was just curious on it's the Monroe Library. I know the fire district, we get taxed for the whole district.
Right.
You were saying the taxes for the library come straight from people in the city limits. Is there a way to pass a bond or something to expand who pays for the library?
So we've talked about possibly a library service bond of some sort that includes not just the city of Monroe, but everyone outside. That's an option, definitely. But
Good.
right now it's Benton, we have property taxes from Benton County that go to the city of Corvallis, who provide the librarian and the services to the library. And then the city of Monroe pays for, the maintenance.
Yeah,
piece
okay.
of it.
Janitorial,
Or the
yeah.
janitorial piece.
Utilities, all that stuff.
Yes.
Cool. I was just curious on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's
absolutely.
great. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Come on, guys, this is a great opportunity.
Okay, well, I joke, but I do this at city council meetings, normally with public comments, going once. Go ahead.
REA had other questions too,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
I'm saving his for the
Okay,
end,
got it.
but I figured we'd have other folks in the room that would like to. Yeah, and that was the plan. I wanted to make sure
We just want to make sure that
That
everybody gets heard.
everybody gets a chance, so, yeah. Okay, going twice. Okay, third time. REA, go ahead and come on up.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I want to tell you how much I appreciate the public statement you made, and I would love to get a copy of it to look at it over it. We just have to digest the information that you provided. I also want to start by saying I want to thank all of you. I know you guys have a really tough job, and I want to just once again reiterate that we want to be helpful, not gadflies and problems, but we need to sort of have information, and it's our role as constituents to hold you accountable. And so we appreciate this. As having said that, I would like to bring up actually one other person to this panel, is Roger Urban, who is a president of the SBCEA, who can also ask questions as part of this group here.
So
Get another chair.
you can pull up the chair, it's fine.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So Roger, you're gonna go ahead and ask us a question or two or three, maybe?
Well, you answered a lot of their questions, but
Okay.
the one that is at the top of my mind is the IGA. You went into why you see the easement as being paramount over the IGA.
Correct, yeah.
Could you elaborate how they're tied together? The IGA is,
We're talking about the IGA and its relationship to the easement. Oh, okay. It's not a microphone, it's a recording device.
Yeah, it's so we can record for the minutes,
I'll
unfortunately.
try to speak up.
Do you want to, hold on one second, Roger. Do you want to move up
Yeah,
to the front
you're
here so you can
welcome
hear
to
better?
move up if you need to.
I can put another chair up here for you.
So your question, Roger, is how the easement and the IGA are tied together?
Right.
Okay, so I think that's probably a legal question. I don't think I can answer that well. What do you think, Steve?
I think that Lori would be a good
Okay.
person to answer.
we've got
that if
Lori still
is-
on.
Lori is still online up there. There she is.
They're full?
Okay, and so let me turn my light on 1 second.
There we go.
Dark in here. The relationship between the IGA and the easement, is that the question?
Yeah, how they're
Yes.
tied together.
Yeah, so the easement came first. And the easement was originally held by the South Benton County Enhancement Association. And I think still is legally, although I'm not sure that was the intent. But anyway, the easement came first, and I think it's dated 2010. And maybe I'm wrong, but no, the IGA came in 2011, I believe. And so they're really two separate things, and they aren't tied together, except for the fact that the easement is basically a restrictive deed, which only lets that building be used for library purposes. So that's what that easement says. And then the IGA just kind of spells out it's a separate document, and it spells out the obligations of the parties to the IGA, which are the county and the cities of Corvallis and the city of Monroe. So it just talks about who does what and who gets to, meeting schedules, meeting room schedules, and staffing issues and things like that. So they're really not tied together, except that the use easement just says it can only be used for a library. Hence, it could still be used for a library without having an IGA, I guess, but you really couldn't have the IGA without it being used as a library, the building. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but they're not inherently tied together is the easy answer to the question.
Go ahead.
Didn't you say that we needed to sort out the writing of the easement because it looked like it wasn't transferred properly, or there was some issue with that?
Well, yeah, I believe so. I mean, so it's very clear that the South Benton County Association, Enhancement Association, transferred ownership of the property from that association to the city of Monroe. So that was done with a quitclaim deed, and it said it would be subject to the property use easement. So I do think it is most important to clarify that whole situation before the IGA is looked at again and to amend it, because you really need to know who owns the building and we know the city owns the building of Monroe, City of Monroe, but you need to know who has responsibility for enforcing the easement, the restrictive part of the easement, which says it can only be a library. And right now I believe, and I think the county attorney would back me up on this, I believe it's still in the South Benton County Association's hands as to who enforces that easement. So if that building wasn't used for a library anymore, I would assume the South Benton County Association would have to come in and say, no, it needs to be used as a library only. And what happens in those cases is a judge would usually have to say, the property would go back to the association if it is no longer used for a library. That's called a reversionary clause.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to get to the bottom of that first before the IGA is looked at for amendment.
Okay.
Roger, did that answer your question?
And more so.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So that leads me to another question.
Yes.
if in fact all that is true, and our association has the easement, we're talking about a very long conversation, so why can't the IGA be extended? And if I understand the IGA by itself is mostly a financial issue.
Correct.
And the latest proposal from the library director had some financial provisions for that. So is there the ability of the city council to work around those provisions and come up with something that could extend it for a long enough period of time to have other discussions?
I don't know if I can answer that one either.
We do have a resolution.
We do have a resolution to extend, true.
And it's up to council to continue extending that resolution.
Yes.
Yeah,
you-
so we can still extend it. Yeah.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I was-
and there is a resolution.
Yeah, I was
on
suggesting
the
maybe,
Agenda
Yes.
maybe extending it a year.
longer.
Yeah, because 6 months goes by pretty quick.
It does.
Did you have any other questions, sir?
I think you answered most of them already.
Well, my questions are really, you just read this statement and it actually, we're surprised to find out that it actually addressed many of our concerns and our questions. So I guess we want a sort of a rereading or a clarification
Okay.
so that we understand. And I guess I want to phrase it as this. I mean, when the easement came up and it has just validated, the purpose of the easement is to define the ownership of the property, correct? And the purpose of the IGA is to define the various roles of the various.
Mhm.
So we were just told, first of all, that these two documents are separate and they have nothing to do with another. And then we're told, wait a minute, we can't actually sign a new GIGA until the easement is clarified. So it's a little bit confusing to me. On the one hand, they're completely separate, and then no, they're completely tied together. So I'm so not. This is confusing to me.
And I understand.
And
that.
there's
It is to us as
Okay.
well.
Well,
Yes.
okay, let's just table that. Let's just table that, okay? So we just want to know, has the city council been considering, deliberating, discussing, just shooting the breeze about it, whether or not to actually execute the extinguishing clause in the easement? That's what was discussed. That was saying, going back, giving it back to the SBCA. That's extinguishing, that's executing.
I'm sorry if I'm speaking off topic here, but yes, I mean, we have had those discussions. We need,
Mhm.
it's like business 101.
Yeah,
We
right.
need to understand what all of our options are, and I think we would be doing a disservice if we didn't. I wouldn't say that's the direction that we're leaning in,
Mhm.
but it definitely is something that we have discussed.
Okay. Let me ask then final, this will constitute a follow-up to that, which is this.
Right.
Would the city council commit that should the extinguishment clause come up for more, shall we say, serious discussion, that it would be done in an open, fully on the agenda, people can comment, engaged, transparent process, and not something that's done executive sessions or, amongst.
We can do that in an open and transparent manner.
Okay,
Yes.
will you? Okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
Yes.
The whole point of the executive session was just so we could discuss options
Of
with the
course.
attorney. So
I totally respect
after that,
your,
we come out. and-
I respect your need to do that. I'm not questioning that at all. What also came out in your comment, which is, I really want to again say, I really appreciate the forthrightness. That was really helpful. Is that the issue of relocating City Hall and moving it into library is animating, is a part of the animation of the renegotiations of the IGA. Would you say that's,
No.
would you?
Well, I would say that we're split. I would say
Mhm.
half
Thank
of
you.
us think that is, that wants to go that direction, and the other half does not want to go that
Under
direction.
discussion.
Yeah.
again,
It's an option, right?
Yeah,
And
we have to
discuss
look
it-
at,
Discuss it as an
We'll
option.
get all of our options.
we have to
That's
look at
correct.
all the options
Okay,
available.
so I'm going to ask the same question. If the consideration of relocating, I mean, whatever happens in the future, if you have this discussion of relocating, would you commit to having it as an open, transparent discussion with your constituents being able to attend? All right. That means a lot. Thank you very much. Do you want to attend to these last questions? I think they're pretty relevant at this point.
Well, this has to do with fundraising. Would you be open to having some type of a group do fundraising to support the city for ongoing maintenance? And you're probably aware that our group has a fund for major maintenance,
Yeah.
Yes.
but for minor maintenance, repairs, janitorial.
Would welcome that with like the widest arms you
Yes.
can even imagine.
I think for me personally, I can't speak for everybody, but for me personally, I just wanted to continue operating as a library. So whether that's the city maintaining ownership and of the building and everything, or if handing it off to some another entity for ownership and it's still there operating as a library. I mean, or so if us doing and there's a way to have funds to be able to do that, whether that's through a special taxi district or
Friends of the library.
Friends of the Library Fund or some sort of, option. I mean, I think that those would all be things that we'd be happy to entertain because I mostly just want it to be a library, but also want it to be equitable with,
Is that consensus of the council?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all want it to be a library.
all want it to
I don't
be a
think anybody
library.
wants to close it.
That,
No.
as far
one
as
wants to
I
close it.
know, that was never an option that we ever thought of. We were just trying to figure out how to make it all work. We also have to do our due diligence in that there's a way that we have to do our job as
Of course.
counselors.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of steps to it and a lot of it has to be kind of compartmentalized and it can't just, sometimes it takes us a while to be able to get somewhere because there's certain steps that have to happen first.
There's the steps, there's also the availability of the city council and it does, and the availability of the
The
lawyer.
Lawyer and all
So
that.
it does take
So,
time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We appreciate that patience is necessary. What we're asking for, as you can hear in our questions, is a sense of transparency and information. And I want to again thank you for the comment that you welcome meetings and
Mhm.
discussions.
Yes.
That was not available.
It's always been available, but I'm telling
well,
you,
I didn't
I'm
know.
telling you guys now, it
Okay,
is.
well, I
And it-
appreciate.
And
thank
it
you.
will be.
Didn't feel that way before, but I will take you on your word for it now. Let's go back to one, we're almost wrapping up, really.
Wonderful.
You have a proposal on the table by Ashley Chavez.
Mhm.
Does, putting aside this confusing issue that the easement has to be clarified first, and I have to say that just really puts a bug. But has her proposal current, as it is currently, has it addressed some, many, or all of your concerns regarding what it first started this process? I mean, I know there's
So-
many things have evolved since then.
Right. So we've received it via email,
Right.
but we haven't come back together to actually review and discuss it yet.
Yeah.
So
Most likely
I
it'll be a
don't,
work
I
session.
don't feel comfortable answering that question yet.
Basically, we haven't discussed it as a group, but
And so you don't wanna-
individually, we've received it.
Okay, so and you guys don't, and you want to speak as one, so you don't want to,
We're in a work session.
Right.
It would be an
Yeah, I
item that we
understand.
would discuss all together.
but I'm trying to get, we're trying to find out, see, one of the issues is that it feels like there have been issues that have come to the table, problems that they have been addressed and solutions, and a new problem comes up, and then it's been addressed and a new problem comes up, and the library director hasn't been given basically a demand letter. You know, if you're an attorney, you know, demand letter, this is what we want. For example, has the city council directed the city staff to draw up a draft proposal that would look good for you, and this is your demands, so that she can then review it herself and see if she can meet those demands?
We have submitted a draft proposal. Yes.
It was submitted.
There
A
was
draft
one,
IGA
and then,
with-
yeah.
From the council was given to Director Chavez on June 21st, I believe, Friday.
And let me just get straight. This particular draft IGA would in fact meet your concerns, and if they were acceded to, they would actually, that would be it. You guys would be like, yes, this is good, we can sign it.
Correct.
I believe that's what the consensus was, yes.
Yes.
Would you permit me at this time to bring up the library director, or is, as a part of the public? Or-
Of course.
Yep, that's fine. Go ahead.
Sorry to.
The draft, sorry for speaking loud. I heard this.
No, yeah, no, it's
So
fine.
I'm not trying to
Yeah.
project at you. The draft proposal that we are talking about violates the easement. That is the problem.
There's a connection.
Beyond that, however,
Yes.
beyond that, as I've stated before, many times, both in writing, verbally.
Yeah.
You know, the request is for the library district to pay for, so in this particular draft, whatever portion of the building is the library would pay for janitorial, building maintenance, ground maintenance, and utilities. That's what the proposal was.
That was the original, yeah.
That is something that creates deep inequity in the structure of our library system. We have, you know, multiple building owners.
Mhm.
We have the service district, we have multiple building owners. And, you know, kind of like I said in my memo, for better, for worse, doesn't matter if I love it, if I hate it, like this is the structure of the system, and changing that only for Monroe is not something that I can agree to. Now, can we have conversations about changing the structure of the library district? Sure. Are the other parties going to be interested in that conversation and want to make the same changes? I have no idea. So we could embark on having those conversations, and it may turn out not everyone wants to do that. And then where are we, you know? So agreeing to that draft, which is the only one I've received, is not something I can do at this time. So that's why when I've come forward with proposals and shared things, it's helpful to understand. One of the things we keep talking about is kind of a money issue, right? How much money are we talking about? Is the shortfall happening right now? Is it going to happen in the future? When will it happen? You know, I've said, hey, let me help you fundraise for the money. Let me help you find a different way to provide janitorial services, so it's more cost effective. Like, I have tons of ideas. I mean, look at the community behind us. Like, we have people ripe and hungry to help support the library through fundraising. So, you know, those all, if the issue is, you know, having more monetary support for janitorial services, let's say, there's a lot of ways to go about doing that other than making a change to the IGA. And that's one of the things that, and I, you know, want to be careful here about your public hearing and not to get into this. I'm just trying to answer the question. What really would be helpful would be to understand, you know, what are non-negotiable points, right? Like, is it that the library service district has to pay this, or is it that the city of Monroe needs XYZ amount of dollars? You know, and that would then help us find solutions that work for everyone.
Wouldn't adjustments like that still need to be addressed in an updated IGA though? Like I feel like that is something, I appreciate you saying that you could help fundraise. I've heard you say that a few times, and that's awesome. Thank you. But I also feel like to protect the city and the residents, like, I think that change with the library's help in fundraising would need to be documented in an updated IGA just to protect us.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I agree with you that it would not be equitable to expect the library to cover all of the expenses. But if we were to come up with other money somehow through fundraising, I would like to see that documented in an
Yeah, and
updated
I
IGA.
don't know if I should respond or not in this setting since it's a public hearing, so I'll just take your
So-
direction. I want to be careful about the
Right,
format
so it
here.
is a public hearing, correct? And we're not going to make any decisions here.
Yeah,
I think that we need to take the opportunity at the next work session
yeah.
to
Yeah.
hammer this out.
I would also just like to say that that is a main driving factor for the issue at hand here, but it's not the only one. There are
heard that.
other issues that I don't know your proposed IGA would necessarily I haven't read it. I mean, like I have read it in its entirety, but I haven't like sat with it and marinated with it, to be perfectly honest with you. It takes a lot to run a city, and the library is a big issue, but it's not the only issue that we deal with. But I would like to throw caution to the wind a little bit and say the use of the building, you know, the insurance component about issues that are happening, events that are happening there, that puts the city, we're liable for anything that happens. And that is really paramount. And so that's really a concern for us as well. And that we need to have that in writing somewhere. It's not only that monetary component, which is definitely a driving factor, but it's also that, you know, rapport and that relationship that we need to have with the staff over at the library, and honoring kind of a system that we have set up that's in existence, so that we can be aware of some of these events and make sure that, you know, like we hand the keys over to them, or that there's a check and balance in place in that way. And we feel comfortable having events in there. We're covered. So that's another reason.
I play and perform at libraries for the past 20 years. And many of the libraries require that those who use that space, such as a performer, get event insurance.
Mhm.
They're the ones responsible. So I kind of feel like that's basically needs to be your policy.
Well, I think we need proof.
It is, it just has
I
not,
don't understand.
it hasn't been adhered to.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
the issue.
Back
Council-
to
Council, is
IGA.
it okay if I
Oh,
just
one
want to
second,
interject
Roger.
here, just 1 second, Mr. Mayor, just to
Okay,
make
go for
sure.
it.
This would be brought up later in our session during my report,
Right.
but Director Chavez did forward me on my request a valid insurance from the city of Corvallis with Monroe as named insured.
Okay,
So
very good.
That's huge.
That was
Yeah.
going to come later in the meeting and not here, but I
Right.
wanted to make sure I brought that up, that
That is
that
in
was
writing in the
provided.
proposal.
Okay.
It's something we've already had. There was interest in having it documented. We added it to the proposal that you have, and I already forwarded the certificate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I
Awesome.
appreciate
Yeah,
that. That's
thank you.
huge.
Oh, so, yeah, so my last question
Okay.
Yeah.
is, if we're gonna have a process to negotiate a new IGA and it's somewhat tangled with the easement,
Mhm.
could we have a subgroup of the city council and have SBCE and the library represented to work through all the issues?
What if we
And-
did that with a mediator?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we actually talked about that as an option with the attorney about having, maybe if all the groups would be willing to go in with a mediator to work through it all and hammer it out that way.
Does that sound like something that you'd be amenable to, I wonder?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm here to get
Yeah.
an agreement. I love providing library service through that library, want to keep doing it. I think a mediator would be a great idea.
Awesome.
And are there any suggestions about how we should go back selecting a mediator? Should that be left to the city?
That's
Or-
going to be left to the city at this point,
Mhm.
so. We'll continue to discuss. Was there anything you wanted to add to the mediator piece of that, Steve?
Oh, I think the attorney gave us some great ideas for
Yep.
you, for the council to consider and for everyone.
Yes.
An independent, neutral
Mhm.
individual that can
Yes.
represent all the groups. That's what the attorney expressed.
Well, I'm going to act in your behalf and say that I think we should wrap this up. And before I do, I want to tell you how thankful I personally feel. I'm to talk about myself. I don't reflect anybody else. This was deeply appreciated. The transparency, the cooperative nature of the questions and the answers means the world. to the process. And if I would just want to encourage you to continue this kind of dynamic in the future, people are pattern makers. We create patterns. We don't see things. We start drawing dots, right? We make dots and you usually don't get to good conclusions when things, it seems a little fishy. So this was really, really important. I think it was a watershed moment and I want to really deeply appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Arthur.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
contact me. It's going to have to drop off for a little bit as she explained to us.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, no problem. My other client says they have about 10 minutes to go, so I'll hang on till I can't. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we've got the public comment period now. Who on the council would like to read 4.1?
I'll read it.
Thank you,
The public
Counselor.
comment period is designed to gain input from the public. Public comment is not intended to be a dialogue between the council, staff, and any person making a comment. Any person who raises a question during public comment should rest assured that the city staff is making a note of your question and the council and staff will work together to identify the appropriate city official to follow up with you directly.
Okay, do we have any public comments? Please come up. Well, I've got Sandy's gonna come up, if you don't mind. Go ahead and identify yourself. Let us know if you live inside the city or if you live outside city limits.
My name is Sandy Hallinan, and I consider myself a constituent of the city of Monroe. I do not live in the city, but because the library serves the entire county, that is the reason, and you own the library. That is why I am a constituent. Okay. I would like to give a little background on why I'm passionate about this library. First of all, I am a librarian. I was trained as a librarian, and I worked as a librarian for many, many, many years. When you work as a librarian, you come away with a very deep love for libraries. It's not that libraries are books only. A library is not just books. A library is everything it offers. And because the library is in that space, not just where the books are, but the entire space, it can add much more to its array of what it is doing for the community. So I'd like to just make another point. Although I am not a resident of Monroe, I am the one who had the idea to develop the Library Legacy Fund. I also personally, some of you know this, but probably most of you don't. I personally financially supported the slate that was elected in 2020. So even though I am not a resident, I care deeply about what happens in Monroe. So the Library Legacy Fund, there's only one reason I wanted to start a Library Legacy Fund. I didn't have a name. I didn't know how to do it, except I had fundraised before. I did it because I love the library. I knew that the city owned the library. I knew that the city did not have the money to pay and would never probably have the money to pay for long-term big ticket items, painting, roof replacement. So I wanted to see if there was a way that we could develop a fund to help with that. That's the only reason. And so even though I don't live here, that is what I did. And I think it would be important for all of us to recognize that the people who support this town, many of those are in the outer limits.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Okay, who would like to come up next?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and tell us your name and if you live.
My name is
inside.
Michelle Bovier Emmett, and I live in the county, not in the city.
Thank you.
And would be perfectly happy to pay more taxes if it went to the library. Just my own personal opinion. So I went to the Monroe City website and I looked at your proposed budget for the coming year. And I found that under the Department of Public Works, the proposed budget for the library is in the vicinity of $20,000. Also, under the Public Works Department is the budget for the Monroe Festival, which is a one-day event for $5,000. So my thought would be that since the benefits of the Monroe Festival for the taxpayers of Monroe, as far as I know, has never been documented, that perhaps for this year, the city of Monroe could cancel next year's Monroe Festival, put that $5,000 into the library budget to alleviate some of the issues with electricity maintenance and janitorial. Thank you.
Just a note, the approved budget for this year had zero for the Monroe Festival. That is no longer a.
Oh, it's not on there anymore.
No, what you were reading is the proposed. We are in the process of posting the adopted budget for the year. And the Monroe Festival lines are now zero.
Okay, sorry to have taken up your time.
And actually, the
Very
money,
valid point.
and per council, the budget committee, that money was taken and put into the library. That is now a $6,000 line. And that's for hopefully to cover some of the deep maintenance that the library needs.
I was very successful in this proposal.
Okay, any other comments?
So a lot of what I wanted to say has already been said.
Tell us your name,
Okay.
Evelyn.
I'm Evelyn Lee and I live at 25776 Alpine Road. So no, I don't live within the city limits, but yes, I am a member of this community. And that's the point that everybody's been trying to make. We're all in this together. We feel like, community doesn't end at city limits. And we're very capable. There's so many volunteers. I mean, Roger's president of SBCE. REA serves on the board of directors of the food pantry. Michelle is on the Firewise committee. Loretta pulls weeds at the city park and the library. We're here to help. We want the city to feel like part of the greater community. And we appreciate your service. And, someone asked, why don't you come to more of the city council meetings? Well, you guys don't come to our meetings either,
Valid
So
point.
we're all pillars of this community holding up the city to make it the best it can possibly be. And we care about this city, not just this library, but we care about this city enough to actually invest in it with a great deal of our time and effort. So I guess, I was going to say some other stuff, but a lot of it's already been said. My last comment was, I hope you guys all run for reelection because you've been through so much and you're really catching on and learning the ropes. You have advisors, but you decide. And it's up to them to make it clear to you. It sounds like that's just what you're doing. So thank you for your service and keep going. Thank you.
Thank you.
We all want to
Thank you.
participate.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, going once. You would like to speak? Oh, we have someone else. Jeannie Cuthbertson will speak on behalf of herself, as a member of the community.
My name is Jeannie Cuthbertson. I live here in Monroe. I am a citizen of this community, this city, but also of the greater community as well. I just feel that it would be good to address our tone moving forward. We have been through a rough patch trying to get this taken care of, and I have the honor, I don't know what to say. It's not an honor. It's sometimes a burden of seeing both sides. And I would like to really encourage the community as we move forward together to be positive and kind to one another, and to refrain and try to encourage others to refrain from comments that you don't have necessarily facts for, reasons to, and be careful not to jump to conclusions. I personally have been attacked on many levels, and it's been very hurtful to my family, and it's been very hard for my family. My family encourages me not to run to be part of this council because they are tired of seeing their mother and their wife bashed and torn up over social media due to people's thoughts and feelings in the community. I would encourage everyone to please try to move forward in a positive manner and try to be kind to one another. We're all here for the same reason. The only reason I serve on council is because I love this community. I moved here. I moved my business here. I've tried to work and do so many things here. And I do try to work very hard for everybody and be concerned about everybody in the community. I would love to see positivity moving forward and people to take time to think about their thoughts. Being accused of not living in the city limits and not even having a business here and not even, you call me up. You can get my number. I have a business. I'm a public entity. It's not hard to figure out before you start attacking me and tearing me down. It's very difficult to sit up there and to try to bring forth the things that we need in this community and care about everybody in this community and take care of everybody in this community when there's negativity. So please, I'm begging, be kind as we're moving forward and know that it takes patience and we don't always have the answers and can't always just answer personally to you, but we care about everybody in the city and in the surrounding areas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Anyone else? Okay, going once, going twice, 3 times, we're sold, we're out. All right, we're done with public comments. I would like to take a couple-minute break here, please. If that would be all right with everyone.
For those of you online, I'm going to be shutting the video down and the audio just for a few minutes.
Very well spoken.
I'm glad that they were.
Okay. All right, we're back. We're down to staff reports. I want to thank the sheriff for hanging in there with us for so long. Thank you. We're ready for your report, sir, whenever you are.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
And does Steve have my giant head on the screen again?
Yes.
It's terrible.
I have AI making it much bigger now.
Perfect. I apologize for not being there in person. I'm scheduled to have knee surgery later this week. And I've been kind of in and out of the office, but I know that Sergeant Bressler's down there.
Yes.
He's done an amazing job of representing the office, and I can't tell you how proud I am to work side by side with Scott. You have the report in front of you. July 13th, I was able to come down with my command staff and kind of give a quick once over the entire office. And one thing that came up, I believe it was really with Genius, especially Councilor Cuthbertson, was the speeding and some of the things that we learned when we had the radar trailer out on Territorial and Orchard. And as you can see with this report, we've been starting to address that. And with Scott in the room, he can attest to this too. Like if you've got your radar on, you can literally see cars, like the front ends of them will literally gouge the road when they see a cop because they will hit the brakes and anchor so hard. And you'll see that in this report that's been mentioned a couple of times that they've really seen the cars anchoring their brakes. I want to say thank you to the mayor and the council for postponing First Responder Appreciation Day. It's something that the office really looks forward to, but it was going to be a tough ask, I think, this year.
Yes, I know.
Civil War and everything else that was going on. But on the heels of that, you have the Spooktacular event, and I know everybody at the office is excited about that. And then, of course, December 14th will be the light parade, and we've already got folks fighting over who's going to ride in what and be in what implement in the parade. So that'll be awesome as well. So a lot of good stuff on the horizon. Captain Duffett, whom you all met at the presentation, recently determined who is going to be the school resource deputies for the year for the schools. I apologize, I don't have that in front of me, but I do know that that's been done, and you should start seeing a deputy down in the Monroe schools when school kicks off. So that'll be good. Any questions for me?
I noticed the trailer's out again. Is that to remind people because school's starting?
Yeah, it's just a good idea to put it out there. Like
Thank
you
you.
saw some of those speeds out there, and they were unrealistic. I'm not going to lie. I was
So
shocked.
I wasn't imagining things. That's what you're telling me?
Correct.
Question?
Yeah.
I got to admit that for July 27th, it lists a suspicious circumstance on the 300 block of Fifth. I mean, my imagination is kind of fired up by that. I'm wondering if you could comment on the suspicious circumstance.
Let's see here, the 27th. Suspicious circumstance, Deputy Lyman. I don't know any more than what you know in that report. That could be anything from a dog in the house to maybe somebody outside. I don't know what that could be. I apologize.
Okay, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just, the phrasing of that just captured my imagination.
Just how the deputy cleared that call.
Is there with the speeding situation, is there some more permanent infrastructure that would be better help if you know than just doing the trailer, like a calming? I know that in Corvallis they have like they have the permanent flashing, you know, digital signs that show, you know, the speed and everything
Right.
like that.
Junction and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I
And-
know the city of Albany is going to traffic cameras. I'm not a big fan of traffic cameras because I feel like you lose that personal interaction.
Mhm.
I like to be able to talk to folks, and I know Sergeant Bressler is the same. I think pretty much everybody in the office likes to have that interaction. Just that emptiness of here's your ticket in the mail. I feel like that's not appropriate for what we do. You know, and anything that would involve the city, I would say you probably want to take up with Steve to start.
Yeah.
Of course, you all know out there how much fun it is to work with ODOT. But that can also be. But you have the bumping out of the curbs and stuff like that. So that's supposed to help with traffic calming. That's what
Yeah.
they're doing in Philomath. That's what they've done in Corvallis. So I'd be curious to see what the impacts of that are as we roll into the new school year.
Yeah, well, in the ticketing cameras and stuff was something I had looked into, like, or just to get information, because I don't know. I know that there's a cost with anything, and
There is, you know, and I just feel like it's so terribly impersonal.
Yeah.
I would much rather have that interaction. So
Yeah, and I know that there was another company, Flock Safety, that has, it's not, they don't do ticket issuing, but they have cameras and stuff that you guys can, you know, that it basically it watches license plates for if there's vehicles that are flagged for whatever and other crimes or whatever, Amber Alerts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
right.
But,
And we have that technology in our patrol vehicles currently. And we have some of that technology in the radar trailer that moves around the county.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't record the plates, but it does record those speeds and whatnot coming and going, so that we can more accurately send our troops out to make sure they're getting in the right place at the right times.
Okay.
And what we did learn is there really isn't a right time down on Territorial or Orchard. It's all the time. So
yeah,
I know that the day shift lieutenant and sergeants have been trying to get out as early as possible, just because of that. There and Spring Hill, people fly out on Spring Hill as well.
Yeah.
Can I give some kudos to somebody
Absolutely. I
on your
love
team? This officer in the corner, thank you so much for helping me with my flat tire about 2 weeks ago. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
telling you, that
That's
guy's
why
a
I didn't catch
superstar.
anybody.
I love that guy.
Yeah, pretty great. Thank you.
So he's turning red.
Oh,
Making him
I'm
blush.
Oh, that's even better. I love it.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
I'm good.
Thank you,
I
Sheriff.
don't think for the time being now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate
Nope,
your
I
help.
appreciate it. I know this was a long meeting, and I do appreciate everybody's time and effort in this. It's just getting started for you. So if we can help in any way, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you too.
Deputy Bloom.
Nice.
City administrator's report is next.
Well, probably the most important thing is the fact that Public Works, with a volunteer, installed a brand new ADA compliant toilet for the sheriff in their substation out here.
Wow.
At last.
Finally. So the previous one looked like something that someone in kindergarten would use.
Yes.
And if you have seen our deputies in their full gear,
Yeah.
you just shake your head. So Mark and a volunteer replaced it. So
That's
I'll put that
wonderful.
first on my list of things.
That's awesome.
We are in the process of putting the 20-mile-an-hour signs up. You'll see them here on this end going up. We just got the posts for the upside done or in. We had to order those. I got them from Benton County, actually. And now we're trying to figure out how to get through the concrete-like soil. It's either mushy and it goes down 30 feet in the winter, or you can't get through except with a jackhammer in the summer. So we're figuring that one out. We have a zoning hearing that I think I mailed out. I mailed out 200 letters to the city because all within 250 feet of the boundaries. We're looking at rezoning the area just between Red Hills and the school, that 12-acre, the GRB, taking Commercial Street, which we already talked about 2 years ago, into commercial. This is currently GRB, but we're replacing it with the extending it from about the line where 7th and 8th come together to come across up to Oak, up to Ash Street, and then all the way over to the 6th Street easement. That most of those lots are all 5,500 square feet anyway, which is medium density. We're just basically, and we've already approved the lots for the PND development several years ago. So we're just basically now just codifying that. We're taking the Dundee Monroe Land Company, the old fertilizer area that we've had so much discussion with. I'll leave it at that. That commercial, which is what it should be. And then, of course, the area where we were leased from Benton County was light industrial, which it can't be, period, because it was leased to us as a park. We're making that public. So most of this is cleanup work. And I'll lead into Santiam, North Santiam paving, which is that 12 acres down there between Red Hills and the elementary school. I have been given a preliminary plan for that area. So they're in the process now of, once we look at it and get some feedback, they're going to be going to the DEQ, what they call a joint application with DEQ and the Corps of Engineers for the wetlands delineation study for that area. That particular piece of property has a lot of wetlands in it. So they will have to probably mitigate some of it and not build in some of it. So it won't have a huge amount of homes in it. Let's put it that way.
Is there interest in it?
Yes,
It's okay.
there is. And with the folks, of course, being in this next 6 months with the elections, the feds want to do things. A lot of it is going to affect those mortgage rates. As soon as people start getting an indication, I think there's going to be a huge an explosion of stuff. So I'm going to shift now up to what we call the Pacific Northwest, Pacific National Development, P&D, or SURGE, for those of you that know the conversation. They have already put their application in, and they are considering at this point May 25th as a date that they're going to break ground. At the last Planning Commission meeting, we had several people come we talk about zoning, but they were specifically talking about the development, asking a lot of questions. I am sure we will hear that at the Planning Commission and at council, the objections, or I think that's where it's going with that.
I'm sorry, that's for the, the lot that is west of Red Hills? Or-
No, this is now, I'm over here now, just to the west of 8th Street.
North 8th, yeah.
North 8th.
Okay,
Right.
got it. Okay.
Councilor Winther's house is one of those initial developments that was made. The city allowed them to do that, but said you don't have to make pavement and all that. And that's where some of our complaints came.
Right.
They do have to, the plans that I've seen and what we are going to enforce is fully paved streets, gutters, stormwater, engineered stormwater, all of that. So that would include extending Pine Street up to 9th, a finished 9th Street, a partially finished 10th Street, and I think the easement extending Pine up to the 10th Street part.
So that lot that has all the grass.
Right.
Okay.
Isn't there some wetland?
There is some
Fine,
wetlands, there's a minor set of wetlands, and they're gonna, 1.56 acres, which they're gonna offset by buying from the Marys River Land Bank. For
Yeah, there
that,
was somebody taking soil samples there today, expected to be building soon, so.
yeah, they're doing the actual soil tests as a taking a note from our Red Hills group that maybe we should be doing that. From Red Hills, we did get a Freedom of Information Act request from a individual and their attorney regarding all the as-built drawings, plans, pictures, etc., regarding the Red Hills development, soil tests, etc. I was able to give them that information
Thank you.
in its entirety. So I did that as soon as they paid their money for it. They were given a link on Google to make sure all that was downloaded to them.
Question about the
Yes.
wetland mitigation. So that means that if over in that area between Red Hills and the elementary school, the mitigation piece means that if they need to develop part of the wetland, then they will replace that wetland somewhere else. Is that what that
Yes,
means? So there will still.
Right, they're called land banks.
Okay,
And,
we will not lose any
and
wetland
You
technically.
can't just do a land bank anywhere.
Okay.
They have to be certified for your regions. So right now we have 2 of them. And the one that they're going to be using is a new one, actually, up around the Philomath area. It's called the Marys River Land Bank. And a nonprofit runs it. And so, but they have to be certified in order to do that. So that's how the state of Oregon mitigates these weird situations like that.
Got it.
In PND's work up here, they actually have 2 wetland areas. One is there is one right there, kind of just to the northwest of Pine and 8th Street in that area. There's another one that comes down the backside or along the fence. There's where 7th and 8th Street and that turn come together. The other one is up on 10th Street on Ash and 10th. So there's an area that kind of comes down and sits behind a gentleman's home. I've talked with him. He's going to be putting some drainage ditches in, which is perfectly okay. He's actually should be doing that. And then I also recommended that you let P and D, when they get up there, to finish it off correctly and put pipes and things in, which they would be responsible for doing. So wetlands, and this is all in our Monroe Land Use Code. So that's all part of it. Last, two things. Mr. Oakes on 6th Street has talked to me, and as soon as I verify his easement is ready, he's going to be coming to you to partition his land. The 500 square foot parcels. I said, lucky day, we're going to be making that GRB, so you don't have to make a conditional use out of that. So you should be able to move ahead. He would like to start the work and put 5 homes in there. The easement is the 6th Street, Depot Street easement. I need to make sure that is exactly what we want, because it serves more than just his homes. It also serves Counselor Myers' home as well. And that's, I'm going to try to avoid some contention with that. And then lastly, I'm now working with AKS Engineering on the Kelly Street multi-family home there as well. Now, part of that's going to be storm drains, and we'll be using SDCs to install the storm drain all the way from 7th Street all the way down to 6th Street. That area does not have that, and at least one home there is actually putting the stormwater into the sewer. We want to avoid that.
Yikes.
That's just, we're talking old homes and old practices, but as we identify these things, we want to get it onto a storm thing and get it off so that we can get the I out of ours. Yeah. because it kills us.
The 5-lot subdivision, that's 5,500 square foot lots, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard it correctly.
Right,
Thank you.
and that is correct, and that would be with the, and that is the definition of our GRB, our medium density zoning.
Yeah, and it's the original plotting of that area anyway, we're 25 by 110 foot lots. And they just put 2 of them together.
Yeah.
Although mine's 125 by 110, but.
So the real estate action is picking up, and that will put us between, if all these homes go in, that would give us close to 52 homes. And the planning commission, 52 homes is what I told them is our limit, where then I have to sit down and evaluate our infrastructure. It's not that our infrastructure can't handle it. We just need to make sure, for instance, that the lagoons might need aeration instead of non-aerated facultative lagoons as they are now. The water plant, we might have to consider that we have to run it 8 or longer hours a day. Right now, we're doing fine. This summer was a good summer. So we're keeping up without having to go over 8 hours. But those are kinds of the decisions. When you add those people, it's not that our infrastructure necessarily cannot handle it, but we may have to do more. And so we need to make sure that our costs,
staffing levels
and
and
staffing
stuff.
levels are in line.
And that's where SDCs would.
And
factor in.
SDCs can help us put infrastructure in,
Right. Not pay for staffing, but.
and not pay
help
for staffing, right? Or pay for the ongoing maintenance, just
Yeah.
like grants, you know. I will say that I am going to put a grant in. I'm going to try one more time to get the small community allotment SCA from the state of Oregon. Main Street is probably the only one that really qualifies in their group. This is the one right out here.
Right.
It's just not in great shape. We have the community center here. It's the only one that fits the safety conditions and all that at the moment in our town that I think I can get $250,000 to deal with. They've upped it from the original 100, and we've already done the engineering for it.
All right.
Oh, that's right.
As for some of you that are on council back then,
yeah.
we went the grant, and then we spent $80,000 on the engineer and had nothing left to do the rest of the grant. So this time around, we have the engineering. So we'll give it one more try. And we are working with the Council of Governments. And I did sign an IGA with them, not for contracted, but in case we utilize their services for planning, GIS, and grant writing. They expanded to grant writing, as Mr. Vogt came down here and talked to us about. And they are helping us write a grant for the pedestrian bridge.
Awesome.
So we're hoping to see if that can actually, because that is huge in terms of all of our strategy and philosophy of trying to get people safely across to our park, but also get people downtown.
Yeah.
For economic development. And it's a long evening.
Yes, it is.
Indeed.
See, I had one more item and I'm as a follow-on to the bridge in that area, which reminds me of the land, because Mr. Nystrom had talked to us at one point about trading land for parking and all that.
Yep.
That also leads me to our surplus sales. We are now signed up with Gov Deals, which is also one of the folks that provides state of Oregon with surplus. And that also fits our charter for selling things. And we are now listing a whole bunch of stuff that Mark has pulled out of every place.
Oh, this is the equipment and
Yeah,
stuff.
equipment and all that. We can also sell land on there too.
Okay, good.
Such as the bell chambers, which would be EFU, but if someone wants to battle that, they can get something and deal with it.
I'm sorry, I should have stopped you way earlier. I have to back up.
That's okay.
When we
I'm
go
done.
back.
I
up.
am done with my report.
The parking at the grade school. we
Yes.
Wanted to do the parallel parking this year. How did signs, marking, did we get anything done? Because school's about to
We
start.
are working on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
That is in
I just wanted
progress.
to make sure that we looped back around.
Right,
so.
and what we're gonna be doing is we want to go, we're just getting some informal bids to get it raked and gravelled. So because if
Okay.
you see right now, it's very uneven and there's bumps and things. I get it all level and then put the signs in.
Perfect.
Do that.
Yeah, because they're all parking nose in.
Their nose in. I'll be sending out,
The angle.
I'll be sending out a notice in our little bills this month, reminding folks that parallel parking is, unless it's specifically stated, we're getting more and more folks that are seeing other folks park at angles and head in, and like on Seventh Street, right before you get to commercial, several people are now parking and you've got to go around the back ends of their vehicles. So got to go back to parallel parking.
And why did we land on parallel parking as opposed to diagonal?
The street width.
Oh,
It
but
goes with-
diagonal would still help with, I mean, it'd be better than head in, right?
It's better if you can make sure, for instance, on the easements, diagonal might work. You notice I'm right across the street from you. You have some diagonal
That's what I
parkers
was-
there.
Yep.
We also have some head-ins over here I just described. That's just one of those things. We may need to consider that, you know. And that would have to be a code thing because our codes call for parallel parking.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't mean it can't change. It just means that's what our codes that go back 40 years, 50, 60.
Well, and also there's
100.
supposed to be so much street width that's allowed for people to pass each other.
Yeah, and that was
And I
the
think
school issue.
I think that was the
being
issue over there, is
sidewalks,
it's not
there's
wide enough
ADA.
to park in and still have it
Right.
legally wide enough to.
And it's the same issue on the Seventh Street that
Yeah.
I noticed today. The cars stick out about this much into the street and that's not legal. So I'm gonna have to make a reminder to folks. I suppose diagonal parking would be another thing, but then you have to mark it some way too. So that's the other problem when you have gravel easements.
Well, then we probably have to look at these spots right out here too, because they actually stick out into Sixth Street.
Yeah, so all of them, those are all things, but I think the initial one that the Public Works Committee wanted to work with was the Dragons, because that was the one that we had complaints from the fire department.
Well, not only that, they had the new sidewalk put in there. And so
Yes.
they were concerned about people parking on that and the fact
Cracking
that they
it, yeah.
can't walk safely for school and they're walking
Mhm.
behind the cars and whatnot. 'Cause they
Right.
can't get on.
That's right, yeah, the St. Rose Church came in, Mr. Skinner came in last fall and said he was doing that, but his concern was that people would be, that he thought that the breakup of the sidewalks was due to that, probably partially, but mostly the weather.
And there were a couple other complaints of ADA because people can't get, and we've had kids going behind the cars because they can't get down the sidewalk. Because if you back up and you have a hitch on, I forget, I do it sometimes too, and then my hitch is hanging over. And
Oh, I've hit my shin and my
oh
knee
yeah,
on a
that's,
hitch.
everybody knows how uncomfortable.
Yeah.
that is. So we don't want to be doing it.
Chief Barnes also
Yeah.
formally let me know that what were we good doing about it, so. That's it, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for Steve?
Mm-mm.
Nope. Okay. Let's move on to consent agenda. Can I have someone read 6.0, please?
Go for it.
The consent agenda piece. Yeah.
The following items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. If any item, excuse me, if any item involves a potential conflict of interest, council members should so note before adoption of the consent agenda. A motion to accept the consent agenda is appropriate.
Thank you.
Frog.
I'm getting there myself. So we're looking for approval of bills, financials, and meeting minutes.
I'll make just one note that we did make a $30,193 payment. Everyone's looking at me for our water bond.
Okay.
For a what?
Water bond.
Also, you pay about.
To the bottle. I was like, wow, that's a really expensive water bottle.
It's our annual payment.
Right.
Well, and also a hefty amount for insurance too.
Yes, and we do pay up front our insurance.
Right.
It was supposed to be $26,000, and then I said, no. I came to, I think, with the budget committee with 28.9 or something. That's what I did. It ended up being 36,000. So it's very close.
What was the valve flush thing?
So that's a $2,000 expense, and what that is on our lift station. It's just so much fun. I get to deal with so many different things. So we have a very large well that everything in the city goes into this very, very large well. It's about 8 feet diameter and about 26 feet deep. So the big pipes go in there. At the bottom of those pipes are two medium-sized flight, as they call them, flight pumps. And what they do is they alternate. One's called lead and one called as lag. And when the level gets up to a certain point, they come on and send everything to the lagoons. Now, one of the problems is, particularly in the summertime, when you don't have a lot of flow in there, all the solids, we won't get into too much detail here, all the solids tend to pack at the bottom.
Oh, gross.
And so you have all sorts of things down there. So when those pumps come on, and maybe they come on every 20 or 30 minutes instead of like every 5 minutes like they do in the wintertime, they get clogged. And that happened to us. So we had to pull the pump out. They are on rails, so you can actually pull them out, set them down, hose them off. And sure enough, this device that sits on the end had broken. It has a ball in it. And every time the pump comes on, it forces the ball. The ball sits down low, and there's a diaphragm underneath it, and it blows water out to circulate everything. So it keeps it all in suspension. That ball, and when it gets to a certain point, the ball comes up, whacks against the opening and closes it. And so the pump now has full force. At one point, that whack was one whack too many, and it cracked the cast iron. Unfortunately, it's a device about this big by yay big. It costs $2,000.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't have it, it costs $800 a pop, about 2 or 3 times a summer to pull the pump. So it was just something that just after 15 years, it gave out.
Makes sense.
It's not bad amortization.
So now you know all about lift stations.
Oh, do we have any questions for Steve on the consent agenda?
I asked mine.
You asked yours?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we pass the consent agenda, pay the bills and pass the minutes and
I'll second that.
all that kind of fun stuff.
All right. Okay. Any other comments or questions regarding the consent agenda? Okay, I'll take that as a no. All right, let's go ahead and vote. Counselor Winther, Counselor Lindner.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Counselor Rich.
Yes.
Counselor Myers.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on from the consent agenda. We are now into new business on the second page of the agenda. Where will I get over there? It's been a long night. Okay. So next item on the agenda is resolution 2024-13. a resolution extending the effective date of the city of Monroe's termination of its participation in the library IGA with the city of Corvallis and Benton County.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 2024-13, a resolution extending the effective date of the cities of Monroe's termination of its participation in the library IGA with the city of Corvallis and Benton County.
I'll second it.
More
Okay.
discussion?
Discussion, comments?
I noticed that it was mentioned to make it a longer term, but honestly, if we look at it every 3 months, we can always extend it each time. And it just depends on how much we want to review it.
This is true, yes. Any other comments?
Will we be discussing the IGA next work session?
Yes.
And the easement, I assume?
I would assume that as well, yes.
Hopefully with a mediator. Oh, well, I guess it depends on their availability and everyone else.
What I'll try to do is find out from our attorney. She mentioned a retired judge or somebody.
Mhm.
I'll reach out and find who mediation that, and I know the county does. I'm sure Corvallis does as well.
And then we'll want to bring in other parties that are.
And at that point, I think at the work session, you'll want to, at this point, you probably want a task force, Mr. Mayor. And
Task
I know
force.
you, yeah,
Another committee.
another committee, but a task force of council members, a few of you or all of you, that will want to sit in with your counterparts.
Okay,
And, but we can start that process and reach out.
great.
That would be good.
I'm happy to keep it like shorter terms only because I want to make sure that we're not kicking it.
Keep that carrot there.
Yeah, I want to keep it moving. Like I'd like to, it'd be nice to get some resolution to it. And I feel like if we.
If you give it a year or two, then it's,
Gonna take kind of the heat off it and I don't want to get lazy. I want to get it done.
Right.
And I know that it takes time to get things done, but we can still extend it, but this way it keeps it hot on the burner for us. I think that's important, but that's just my personal opinion.
But it is extended through the holidays, so I don't know if we should consider that, like maybe extending it.
Slows down in
Yeah,
December.
like, and from November to December, kind of, I don't know.
Would you consider like end of January more appropriate then? Or are you saying the opposite?
March.
Maybe March.
Because it's almost September now.
oh, you're saying 6 months instead of 3 months?
Yeah.
Do we have to?
I see
withdraw
your
and
point as
then
well,
vote and
Counselor
then redo it?
Cuthbertson. I mean, it would be nice to have it be
Has it been
in
moved?
forefront too. As long as we can continue to move it forward and it doesn't stagnate and we can have it on the work sessions and the agenda for the next 3 months, then I think we're good.
Yeah, any other,
I'm okay.
okay, any other comments or questions, discussion before we vote?
I'll just make a argument in favor of this shorter.
Okay, go
Is
ahead.
The fact that if you make it longer and then you're stuck with it.
Agreed.
So we do have a motion, a second on the table for unless there's a friendly amendment on that.
Right
We
now,
should vote
it sounds
for
like
the-
we're still at December 31st at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, all we have to do is the same thing over again.
Okay, got it. Okay, let's vote. Counselor Myers,
Yes.
Counselor Rich,
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Lindner,
Yes.
Counselor Winter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so next up is ordinance 2024-03, and an ordinance amending Monroe Land Use Development Code, adding and defining accessory short-term rentals within the city of Monroe.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you,
Thank you.
folks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This is per our land use hearing last month.
Mhm.
That what this does is simply just gives the authority to add it, to change our Monroe Land Use Code according to the what we approved at the land use hearing. And essentially, it's in the exhibit A, which is the section adding section 6.105 accessory short-term rentals. What this does is put it in the code. The next step, there's actually a few more steps, but then city, we develop the permitting and all that as administrative part. And then next month, you're going to get another ordinance for establishing the lodging tax,
Okay.
which will go under your financial section, which you approved several months ago. So we're making all these little parts and pieces to our tree, and now we're filling the fruit on the tree. So tonight, you're basically taking what we did last month and basically authorizing it to put into the code. I sent a copy of this also to the DLCD, saying we're amending it, and so they have a copy of it.
Okay.
And this was
That's-
posted in with enough time, so we don't have to do the reading or
Correct.
whatever like we
Yes,
did
you guys-
before.
So this is all,
Okay.
this is just a very simple, it's exactly what you approved in your land use hearing last month.
I make a motion, we pass ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance amending Monroe Land Use Development Code, adding and defining accessory short-term rentals within the city of Monroe.
I second.
Do you have a projected timeline on the permitting process?
So I should have the permitting process, since I have Misty on mine here, who's been very anxious about this.
Sure.
So I expect to have the first set of permitting done and showed to you by your work session.
Okay.
Okay. That would be
Excellent.
next week.
Perfect.
And then at that point, I consider that part administrative. And then we'll start moving, start letting folks utilize it. Start
Awesome.
signing up. Now, at one point at the end of this month, I do not yet have, because we did not put in our schedule of fees, what the fee for this is. Okay, I don't think that's for me, that's not something, I mean, I can start getting people to, because there is an application process. So I think by the time we get our first application actually in, we will have the fee set. I don't expect a large fee
No.
for this.
Right.
Portland was 179. I was thinking it's probably somewhere along the line of 75 to $125.
Yeah.
What that does is simply pay for staff time to go through it and
Right.
add it and all that. Just simply covering costs. We're not trying to
Right.
make money
Right.
from it. The lodging tax is a different thing, and I
Mhm.
that a little more hoops for me to
Mhm.
jump through with the state of Oregon, but I just provide, once it's done, it's out of our hands. The state of Oregon Department of Revenue will be handling it,
Got it.
as they do for most cities now. Even Eugene, I think, uses the DOR for
It all,
collecting their
the
lodging
tax
tax.
goes straight to the state and then it comes back to
And
us
they,
later.
and they take their cut, administrative cut, and give us the rest.
Got it.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a small town, that's very efficient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, discussion before we vote? Okay, let's vote.
Okay.
Counselor Winter,
Yes.
Counselor Lindner,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Counselor Rich. Yes. Counselor Myers.
Yes.
Ooh. Oh.
Psych.
Right. You, I think. Okay, we've got one more resolution, 2024-14. That is also in the packet. That is a resolution approving conditions for out-of-cycle accounts payable transactions.
Again, we discussed this at the work session. And it's simply the fact that some of our invoices that come in are net 10, some are before council. And the history of council has been to approve everything before it's paid. And anymore, because we try not to write checks, for absolutely everything. Some things are paid online. People are embracing that. But I didn't feel comfortable just paying whatever. I wanted you to know the list of the accounts that we are paying out of cycle. And then the intent would be we would not pay anything out of cycle unless we came to you and added it to the list.
Okay.
Just so you're aware. Now you see that in your financials. You'll see those are accounts payable paid section. But I'd like you to be aware of what it is and kind of the conditions and how we're dealing with it. So that we can be transparent with not only our constituents, but with the auditors and anyone else who asks.
So these are just regular items that come up and that are on a shorter term. Sometimes than the.
Exactly. So like ADP, that's our payroll processing. Amazon is, but again, these are things that we've either budgeted or are recurring expenses that we've already approved in one way, shape, or form. If for some reason there's something that comes up, Mark, loves buying equipment. Yeah. Comes to me and says, gee, Steve, we really do need this $2,500 piece of equipment. He's nodding his head. It's we have the money in our budget, but I didn't come to you and say, hey, we're really going to buy this specific piece of equipment.
Right.
Then I would come to you first before we purchased it.
Right.
That would
Yeah.
always be the case, because if it's over $2,000, I'm going to come to you. Even if it's in the budget, I mean, the dollars are there, I will still come to you and we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we make approval. This is just for the more routine things that come up each month that we need to pay. And I want to make sure Dawn has the authority to just pay that according to these conditions that she's the one who wrote this up. So, and I looked at it, but these are basically what we're doing.
I make a motion, we pass resolution 2024-14, a resolution approving conditions for out of cycle accounts payable transactions.
Oh, yawning.
I second.
Second?
I
No.
second.
Okay, any other comments, questions, discussion before we vote?
It's getting almost to my bedtime.
I know it's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying, man. All right, let's vote. Counselor Myers.
Yes.
Counselor Rich.
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Lindner. Counselor Winter. Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have got old business now, 1135 project dam removal grant update.
On the very, I think, very last page.
Okay.
The very last page. Is a very recent email from our project manager. My question was, is cost overruns for the dam removal project during the construction phase? I said, as I read the agreement, there is a fixed dollar amount set for the project and the sponsor has a cost share based on that amount. My question to him, like two questions were, what are the obligation of the parties if the construction costs are projected to exceed the amount of the grant construction and contracts are let? In other words, they let the contracts or not projected to exceed the amount of the grant during construction, but the final bills exceed that amount, which are all normal things that happen in any kind of thing. So his response is that the cost share stays in place. Okay, so it's 75-25. If for instance, if the final bills come in, we all agree that it's supposed to be this way and that way, but the final bills come in and it's $1,000 more, then we have to come up with $250. Okay,
But there's a stage gate process here.
Yeah, and what's that?
There's a gate process.
Well, that's what he's, I'm just saying that yes, and then he explains there's a gating process, but that doesn't, and again, my job is to point out risks to you. And the risk is that you can get a final bill with this that no one expects, that everyone agrees, we all agree on it. But the risk is that you are not off the hook on this process. So it could be $1,000, which means you get it at 250. It could be $10,000 to 2,500. It could be any of those things. What he's saying is that they will give you an estimate ahead of time and say, this is what we believe it is. We have already set a dollar amount for the project, and there's a dollar amount for the cost share. And so the Long Tom Watershed Council has said that they will come up with the cost share piece of it. Okay. And that's set, that cost share is set on that dollar amount that they estimate. So we're going to get a second estimate in this process. And that second estimate will then be matched up against what we said we can raise. And then that's the first gate. Do we go forward or do we not go forward? The second gate is once the bids are received, if the costs are over our estimates, then a decision can be made between the sponsor, us, and the Corps of Engineers, whether we can afford to do it or it just ends. So that's the second gate. And the third gate is that if there's modifications, in other words, the contractor comes out and says, you know what, I'm going to need a caisson down here to protect us from the river lampreys. And that's a modification to the contract, and it's going to cost an extra $100,000. We have a decision that we can make at that point and stop it if it's necessary. The risk for you will be if you get all that's great. Those gates are fine. You think everything's going along swimmingly. And the contractor submits the final billing, which exceeds the dollar amount of the grant. And it's just simply a risk. It could be nothing. And hopefully during these gating processes, there's enough information being presented that the council can approve and move forward with it. But that's what he's basically saying. I will be giving this, I'll just one last thing. I'm going to be giving this to the attorney to make sure there's nothing else in there that is a gotcha. But this is directly from Elliot, the project manager, and I just want to make sure it was shared with you.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I forwarded that. I hope it's okay that I did. I shared that information with John Gredonis. I'm not sure if I think I just did it yesterday, and I'm sorry if you got it late from me. But for some reason, I keep thinking that the Long Tom Watershed Council, I thought that they were also budgeting slightly over the cost of the project, obviously not 25%, but
At this point, their MOU is with their attorney,
Mhm.
a memorandum of understanding, and hopefully that's all spelled out.
Okay,
But you will have to see, that's the other shoe that
Got
will
it.
need to be reviewed. This is just simply from Elliot. I did Jed talked to me earlier in July
Mhm.
that he was going to get it to us. And according to John, it's still with the attorney unless it's come back yet, but.
Yeah, if appropriate, I could make some comments on that.
Sure. Yeah, do you mind coming to the mic? Thank you.
Come on up, John.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a chance on the 9th to go over the various concerns that people may have yet. And I have put together a document that I've shared with Steve and with the mayor that kind of catches us all up on what's been going on with the advisory committee. Some of these issues keep coming up and they're serious. They have to be addressed. The issue of cost share has been there since we started, which is why a great deal of effort went into the agreement. It's an issue that was shared by the city and by Long Tom Watershed Council because the Watershed Council has committed to cover cost share. So the steps that Steve were mentioning are extensive checks and balances to make sure that doesn't happen, or everybody's well aware of that before. Steve's looked at a lot of contracts as I have. What's built into that contract exceeds many, many types of contracts to avoid that kind of creep. The project is also chunked, which means if there is a creep, not all the pieces have to be done immediately, so we can control that. Long Tom Watershed Council will be monitoring those. We have set up regular assessments of the budget as we go along to make sure that doesn't happen. The Long Tom Watershed Council had to submit a number to get the grant based on the projections. So the 785,000 they have, but meeting with all their grant providers, we really work to make sure the grant providers know that they may be called on to increase funding if it goes over. But we only want to do that if it benefits the city and it makes sense.
And that will all be spelled out in the MOU?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
a relief.
it's probably valuable to wait till we get all that information rather.
Right.
I think we've learned that raising concerns creates more concern and we don't want to, we want to kind of avoid that. There was some other, so I'm hoping I get a chance to take the document I shared with Steve and with the mayor on the work session. And if there are any questions, we can go back and get those documented and presented before you have to vote on that issue on the 30th.
Great.
I'd also suggest what we've tried to do with Torrance great work and what we've been is try to help the city look at this as an economic development project, not anything other than that for the city. And if you look at that way, then I think the slight risk of some of these things become a lot more valuable to pursue than
John, you're a good salesperson.
What's that?
You're an excellent salesperson.
Good, I'll shut up. But I'd like to, if possible, I'd like to come back and I'll work that out with Stephen. On the 9th, to kind of go over some of these things like whack-a-mole that keep coming up, but we just want to go over all of these things. And then I can go back and secure any documentation that the council feels like they need in order to feel secure about moving forward, if you choose to do that.
Thank you.
I do have one question for you. Actually, it's more of an ask. So these stage gate processes, they're gated. I'd like to understand what the guardrails are specifically for each gate so that we know, what they're looking for. That would be helpful for me.
Sure. And basically, at any time that the cost, for the cost thing, anytime the costs go over what Longtime Watershed has for cost share, the city can stop. There's no point, the only point where the city would be committed to go forward and Longtime would be required to raise additional money if there's overcost is once the bids have been issued. Only because it's much harder to pull a bid back.
Right, I understood.
And that's like after the design phase, after all the studies are done to make sure that the construction project drafted, then there's some commitment.
What is the chance of for some reason, there being an overage and we exceed the budget at one of these gates? What are the chances that the project just is paused for a year or two at a time? Like, does that happen with projects like this, or is that pretty atypical?
And that would be, I could talk to Elliot about if they come back, but there's a 35% contingency in the budget. And because we can chunk the project, with dam removal, the downstream culvert, the scouring the bridge has to happen. That happens, but it can be chunks. You can pull the downstream culvert off the plate, or come back and do that later. So yes, there's ways to make sure we don't go over. But after talking to the grantors, they support the project. They understand that there may be another ask. So Longtime Watershed Council they understand that, the grantors understand that, but they had to give a fixed amount.
Right. Yeah, they can't just give a blank check.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Much to our own dismay.
But we can document those checks and balances more, if that would be helpful.
That would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
All right. Next, we've got participation in Benton County EV charger grant. Charging stations.
Benton County has a grant. They just got it very quickly. They wanted to know if they could install it down here in Monroe. They thought about the library and all that. I don't, but before you say anything, I just have to know. I don't know, it's
Right.
one thing to put the chargers in.
Right.
I don't know how the maintenance goes and I don't know who pays for electricity.
So I can add something to that.
Please
So
do.
I went to a Main Street conference and I talked to a couple of communities that have EV chargers. They're expensive to maintain. When they break, there's nobody around here to fix it. You gotta pull somebody from somewhere else and bring them down, and it's expensive. So having the city is not gonna be able to afford this.
Can't afford
But I mean, maybe a business in Monroe would be interested. I don't know.
I gave Gary Stockoff, he's the Director of Public Works for Benton County. I suggested that he talk to the Niestrums or to the Art Center, that area or even in their own area that might be a good draw for them. I think it's a good economic development thing, but
Yeah.
Definitely.
for a business
Yeah.
necessarily.
I
but-
just think we
but
can't
for
do
the city,
that.
unless they are willing to fund the
Maintenance.
electricity and the maintenance and all that, I don't think we can afford. It's a
Yeah, if
neat
we're already
idea, but we
having
can't
issues
afford it.
with funding stuff
Yeah.
over there,
A few things and City Hall, which is.
then it doesn't make
next on
sense
the
to
list.
It doesn't fit in right now.
also pay
Anyway,
for
I just
charging
want to make
people's
sure that
cars.
because it was brought up to me, like as all things, it's my job to bring it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City Hall, what we're going to talk about on City Hall.
Moving forward.
Moving forward, that's a great idea. Options, I presume.
Yes, so I'm in the process of getting money idea, you know, there's two ways to do it. You can build something, you can get a modular unit in and lease it. It's a few $1,000s a month. You can buy it, you can buy some used ones, but you still have to place it and all that. So I'm getting all that information together. But I will have it by next council
Awesome. Thank you.
for you.
Would it increase our capacity in any way?
No. Capacity for
for
processing more citations.
To use, okay, to use STCs.
So there's no way SDCs could be used towards
No.
something like that, right? It's not infrastructure. Okay.
No, it's not an increasing. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Lovely try, but
I
yeah.
did think about that. And actually Mark thought about it too, but yeah, he has. So, no, we tried all sorts of creative ideas, but we'll have to do something with it. So anyway, I just want to let you know that we will come forward and right now the idea is to use the Reader Building area. That's the reason why we're getting it cleaned out and sold, so we can have that area flat. That building needs to come down regardless. It's not even sitting correctly on the lot.
It's
So,
being held up by invasive vines.
yeah, it is on the backside in particular, and I
Could
think
do.
it's also sticking over the property line on
Oh,
the
no.
southeast corner. So
The bones inside that building are actually pretty good. It's just everything on the outside that's, and the roof that are.
yeah, and the things that holding it
It's
up.
just
are
everything.
Everything.
I'm sure
It's-
moving the polar bear over and the Bell Chambers property is not an option.
to the same individual that Niestrom's used and have him just hand pull it down and utilize it. Redo it.
you're
I don't know.
denying-
The interior wood, some of it is just, it's not in great condition. It's not like the Barbie house, which a lot of that wasn't still solid.
I was gonna say, you're gonna deny Mark taking the Kubota over there and just pushing it over.
Mark's smiling.
I got something bigger than
I'm sure you do.
And we actually got it fixed and new pins on it too. So.
Right.
Materials, I mean, if any of it's in decent shape, and maybe somebody just asked this and I didn't register, but like, could any of the material be upcycled somehow or repurposed in the city?
I'm gonna try and get the same individual that did the Niestrom's. If you remember, this
Okay.
person hand tore it down.
Mhm, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
See that or burn to learn.
What's that?
Burn and learn. yeah.
Oh,
It's too close.
too
to,
toxic. It
Dell's,
was a
although-
mechanic, it was an auto mechanic shop.
To Dell's house.
Yeah.
5 feet from another house.
Yeah, I think
Compressed air
it's-
foam.
I just want to let you know that we are actively pursuing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Know where that fellow lives. He lives in town. He's a local.
Ask
Yeah,
him.
it's
If you
Keith,
want, I
right?
can reach out.
Yeah.
Would you please do that and reach out? And let's get
Yeah,
that
thank
going. As soon
you.
as we get that material sold,
Yeah,
which is the next item, we've already covered it. So
because it'd be good to get some concrete, yeah,
we'll need to.
Costs and all that
costs,
stuff
all
so we
that.
can
do
figure out.
Have some building reserves we can use. We'll just have to figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah, because I think that there was some money in a building reserve fund that they were originally, because they were originally going to tear down the Reader Building and throw up like a steel building or something like that.
Correct. Yeah, so we kept that money. It was about $18,000.
Yeah.
And it was put in the building reserves.
So I'm circling back. Do we need to go ahead and make our motion for mediation?
Yes.
Oh, do we have to make a motion and a vote to,
If you wish
To
to, you have a
direct
decision to
staff
move
to-
forward with how the
Yeah.
council wishes to move forward with it, yes.
Oh,
It would- At this point, that would be, the mayor has placed it on the agenda formally that we are to decide how to move forward. There we go. I put my city recorder hat on. So
so I make a motion to direct city staff to
work with city attorney.
to work with the city attorney and organize some mediation between the
parties.
the parties involved with,
There we go.
the IGA and the easement of the library.
There you go.
I don't.
I second.
She's got the easy part.
Yeah.
Okay, any comments, questions, discussion before we vote on the motion?
Do we want to include a projected dollar amount for this or a time frame or agenda or just leave that?
If you're going to direct me to find that, I would, I think that to staff, then staff would not be actually arranging it. I mean, we would put it together and then come back to you with the information.
costs.
Yeah,
With the
and
costs and the
contacting
process
everybody
and
and
all
if
that.
they, if.
It
what
might take us a
everyone's-
few weeks to get
Mhm.
all that together.
Yeah,
And also to contact the parties and make sure everyone is
Right.
amenable.
Yeah.
And approve and all that. So
Sure.
that would be kind of a administrative job, and then you folks would then come back and approve the actual dollar amounts if it's, more than our legal.
Right.
I can use our legal fees that we had that we budgeted for.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Our attorney fees for that.
and that's why I directed it as direct staff to basically organize this thing and,
if it
or try
exceeds-
to.
Right, if it exceeds our
Attempt to.
dollar amount, again, I would come back to you, but otherwise we would come back to you with, okay, this is what we've done. Then the mayor would probably assign at that point a task force to work with the counterparts
Mhm.
and work through this to your satisfaction.
Sounds fair.
Okay, any other,
Motion's on the table and seconded.
yep. So any other comments or questions, discussion? Okay, we're gonna vote.
Yep.
Counselor Winther,
Yes.
Counselor Lindner.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Counselor Rich. Yes. Counselor Myers.
Yes.
Good. Thank you for not faking us out.
Thank you for not what?
Faking us out.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're getting down to the end here, folks. Okay. So we're in section 9 of the agenda, city events and other happenings. Just mentioned the calendar is on the city website. Upcoming events, we've got the farmer's market every Thursday until October 3rd, correct?
Yeah, it's October 3rd or 4th, whatever that
Okay.
Thursday is.
Got it. It's from 4 PM to 7 PM.
Mhm.
Okay. We do have the Blackberry Jamboree at Heritage Hall. It's this Friday from 4 PM to 8 PM. The First Responders Appreciation Event, I don't know if it's going to get rescheduled. I've got some conflicts, so stay tuned on that. The sheriff mentioned the Halloween Spooktacular. That is still for October 31st. We've got November and December of this year for the community food drive. November 9th, and that's a tentative date. I haven't confirmed that with the Alpine Holiday Festival folks yet. We'll get that confirmed. The month of December, we are doing the community toy drive. Ooh, hard to say today. December 14th is the Monroe Light Parade. And then if you have any other events that I've missed that we need to add, let me know. Other business, we've got committee reports. Budget for the most part, we've concluded. We may revisit as we need to. Economic development, our next meeting is September 12th at 6 PM. Finance and personnel, I think we need to have a meeting at some point here. Because we're still working on hiring a utility worker one,
That
correct?
just went out onto Indeed.
Okay,
as we
good.
talked about.
Okay, ordinance, that's to be determined. Parks, I think we're to be determined as well, but we are working on updating the parks master plan.
One, so we can do the
Yes.
first part.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got it. Public Works, September 18th is the next meeting. And the next city council meeting, or not, work session is September 9th. Any comments from counselors before we wrap this up?
I think this has been a very positive and engaging meeting. We had really good response from the public and good, discussions. And I look forward, it gives me a positive outlook. So.
Okay, great.
I agree.
Go ahead. You
No.
agree?
Yeah.
Great.
And I
thank you.
echo that sentiment as well.
It's nice to feel positive leaving today for change.
Thank you all very much.
Good job, team.
Yay.
Have a lovely evening. Okay.